Hi, everyone. Hello. Hi. It is I, Trooper SJP, and this is the Academic Foxhole. How are y'all doing? What's going on? What's new and exciting? I'm eating the weirdest chips, corn puffs with sour cream and chili. Corn puffs with sour cream and chili. That sounds really strange. Crit Twitch is having a hard time typing today, and it's probably the keyboard. It's probably not Crit Twitch. It's probably the keyboard, and just blame the technology. Hi. Oh, PH, you babysat for 7.5 hours? That is a long time, PH. Ooh, you probably need a little bit of rest, but that's like a long time. That's a lot. That's a lot of energy. And PH, aren't you an introvert? I feel like that's a lot. Ooh. Hi everybody, Ice Bunny, Falcon of Venom, Crit Twitch, PH. I saw all sorts of people there earlier who were hanging out in the chat, but whose names have passed me by. Wait, let me see. Krellin, of course, who was trying to avoid all of the mafiosi and pirates, and also Javai. Hey everybody, how are you all doing? That's a good question. How old was this kid? Because certain kids, well, I mean, 2 years old would be a lot of energy all the time. Like if it were like a 2-year-old or a 3 or 4, like people in that 2 to 5 age, 2 to 6 probably, are super energy drained. Like I'm an extrovert and I like being around people, but that can be a draining situation for reals. Sorry, I'm just checking my levels. Hello. I think I'm good. Yeah, how old was this kid? So, hi everybody. So what's going on? What is new and exciting? It is... I have to check my calendar. You know, I put a calendar up on the Twitch page, and I know that I'm gonna have to miss a stream or two because of our national conference. And I know I put that I'm gonna miss Saturday, but I think I might also miss that Thursday as well. I don't know if I put that I'd miss both of those out, but we've got our national conference at the end of October, and I'm going to miss 2 streams because of that. There were 3. Oh my goodness, Peach, there were 3 kids? 2 teens and a 9-year-old? That is a lot of kids, PH. That's a lot. And also they're not allowed to watch screens, so fun is strictly forbidden. That is, hey drummer boy, that is really rough. That sounds like you were having to be entertainment for almost 9 hours, and that is a lot. I feel your exhaustion, and I give you some love for it. Hey drummer boy, how are you doing? Also, congratulations on the pirate badge. Yeah, so I will just say that I'm going to miss 2 streams in October because of our national conference, and then I think, but the national conference is in Boston, so if I don't have to, I may be able to, if there's nothing going on a Thursday night, is what I'm trying to say. Like if nothing is happening Thursday night at that conference and I don't have to be there, then I can just stream and then head in. So I will definitely be missing Saturday. I may or may not be missing Thursday. I don't know yet, but Krellin, this is conference, not convention. Although they do sort of overlap a little bit, don't they? I think. Have to beware. Yes. Doing well. I got surprise money from the government, so I have wiggle room for the first time in forever. That's wonderful, drummer boy. Put it in the bank, I suppose. What do I want to tell you? I have news. What is my news? Next week, the Purloin Code, the Pork Loin Code, Scum and Villainy, is back on Little Red Dot's channel. That's 8 p.m. little_red_dot, where I will be playing Dev, and I've got my sci-fi jacket right over there, hanging back there, ready to play. And then I'll be here Thursday and Saturday as normal. Mini show and tell. I got the Cypher System rulebook, so that's really exciting. The new rulebook for the Cypher System, so I can run that. I'm excited about it, and I don't have the expansion, which I want to get, because the big question I have for the Cypher... Here's the question I have for the Cypher System, which Is it, you know, it's the question I have for a lot of the new generics. So Genesis, Cypher, a lot of them feel to me like they are pitched towards sort of higher powered, sort of cinematic gaming. And I do like myself some gritty gaming, and sometimes I want to do a gritty game where everybody doesn't have superpowers or badassness. And so the question that I have is, how well does the Cypher system work for gritty would be my question. That's always my question, because so many of these games are just pitched for cinematic, which makes it hard when you want to do something less cinematic. Although Powered by Apocalypse feels like it can do gritty, but it also is archetypal, and sometimes I want a bit more customization than that, right? Krellin says, no systems are made for gritty because GURPS already exists. Thank you, Krellin. Did you just say GURPS? Is that what you just said? So let me see, what do I want to tell you? Yep, so I got it in the mail, and there's an expansion they have which might allow for some... Well, because here's the thing, the whole Cypher system is... Never heard of it. The whole Cypher system is based around getting ciphers, which are sort of kind of like supernatural, hyper-tech, you know, artifacts that do magical things. GURPS doesn't even use dice, it just uses handfuls of gravel. It's so gritty. That's not even fair, Drummer Boy. It doesn't use handfuls of gravel. It uses grape nuts, that cereal, which I feel is like gravel, but it's edible. What was I going to tell you? I don't even remember. I was saying something. No, I'm just saying grape nuts, like, it seems very gravelly, grape nuts as a... Crit Twitch says, edible is contentious. Will they sell it as food? I mean, that is a thing. It is sold as food. I think I had it once as a little kid, and I was like, what is this? I should probably try it. Krellin points out that grape nuts are gravel adjacent. Yeah, I should probably try it as an adult, since I've only tried it as a kid, and I don't know what it's like in grown-up form. Like, maybe as a grown-up I'll really love it. I think as a kid I had it once and I was like, what is this? But I was super small. I should probably also Krellin, as a person who likes grape nuts, are grape nuts are they like mini, I feel like they're not granola. Like, what are they? They just, like, what are they? Ice Bunny says, my t-shirt begins to sit loose and I don't sport or diet. What am I doing wrong? Are you eating well and eating enough? That would be my question. It's granola-like? Yeah, like, if it's because I like granola quite a lot. So if it's granola-like, then I might really enjoy it. But it's unclear to me, and I don't really remember from the time I was, like, I don't know, 6 or whatever when I had it. I should play the banjo. That's what I should do. And so that I can play it, get it out of the way, and then we can do the other things. But yeah, I just want to know, like, I just want some gritty games sometimes, you know? But, Rissa, sort of Coruscant, most fruits and carbs, make sure you're getting your protein. Make sure you get your protein in. Rissa, who you know, Coruscant, who's my GM, just told me that they've come out with a solo version of Delta Green. And that's interesting to me. And I'm gonna have to check it out. Because, you know, I do not want to make it seem like all I do is one-on-one games, but you know, right now I'm getting like $29 a month on Patreon, and I want to pay my solo. I want to pay like the solo players. Like, an ideal world, I can pay the solo players $50 because doing a solo game is like super, super heavy stuff. So, but at the moment, $29 a month is not going to pay for a full cast. So, you know, the solo games are a nice transition thing. So there you go. Drummer Boy says, I tried to learn some scrugs on banjo a while back. It's not as guitar-like as I had hoped, so it has failed. It is not guitar-like at all. I don't even play the guitar. Everyone's like, oh, you play the banjo. Do you play the guitar? And I was like, I don't play the guitar, as a matter of fact. I want to play this song up here rather than down here. Because like, depending on where you place, in case you care, depending on where you place your fingers, closer to the bridge or closer to the neck, it gives you a very different sound. So like if you're closer to the bridge, sounds like that. Closer to the neck, it's a much softer sound. And when you're getting really scrugsy, you want to be really close to the bridge, because then you get a really good, it's a really nice, I don't know. Like you get a really good, like you get that sound, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? That really like, I don't even know how to describe it, but there's a real sound you get when you get closer to the bridge. But like the song I want to play today is a little bit more dreamy, and I want to play it close to the neck. PH says one-on-one games are great, which I agree with. I really enjoyed them. I really like that experience, and I want to do more of them. I want to see if I can do a really good, like maybe a mini campaign. Why would people think of banjos like a guitar? It's more like a lute. Do I play the lute? You know, I actually have. That pops the mic. Thank you, Krellin. Thank you for letting me know. I will turn down just a little bit. Thank you, Krellin. A little bit of a sound check, and it pops the mic. You know, Krellin, I got a lute at one point in time. Although lutes are again a little bit different. And so I didn't have much, you know, whenever I get another instrument that's not the banjo, I always feel like, do I want to practice the banjo more or this other new instrument? And I always end up picking the banjo more. PH says, as an adventurer, I'm always looking for some sweet loot. I really feel like, oh, it's interesting. It's interesting. When I play down by the bridge, I pop the mic more than if I play up by the neck. I think by the neck is just not going to get me as much volume than here. So, you know, I'm just gonna. Drummer Boy says, yep, that's why there are multiple pickups on electric guitars. It is true. That's what the switches do. Change where the sound is coming from, bridge to neck. It is true, and actually there's an electric banjo that I want. I actually own an electric banjo. I have a lot of banjos. You probably don't know this because you only see this one, but I have this one. I've got an open back banjo, which is in my office. I have got an electric banjo. I have got a dobro banjo, and then I've got a really cheap, bad quality banjo whose sound, it's like really bad. It's like a super crappy banjo that doesn't even hold, but I really like the sound of it. It's just like, oh, it's so interesting. It's a bad banjo. And I've got a banjo uke, but there's a different electric banjo that I want. The electric banjo I have is sort of like a classic, and a lot of people use it, but Neckville makes an electric banjo that has a MIDI pickup, so I could then, you know, play MIDI through my banjo. It also works as a MIDI controller as well as an electric banjo. So I could put like samples up in the upper fret, so I could have like voices. If I play this note here, instead of playing a note, I could play like a sound sample of something. So I could do some really cool avant-garde stuff if I got this MIDI controller banjo, which is what I want. So I'm hoping at some point in time when I have, I don't know, more time in my life, I will pick up this MIDI banjo, which I'm really excited about. Yes. I said it was more like the lute than guitar. Obviously they're different. Otherwise we wouldn't have guitars and banjos and lutes. This is fair, Krellin. This is fair. Trooper, do you got claws? I do. I have banjo claws and my finger picks. You can also buy a cheap contact mic as a pickup. I bought one from Amazon Mics to do some sound. Oh yeah, I actually, I had a different banjo. It was my 4-string banjo, and I actually built in a pickup to it. So I built in a nice, because you can, there are these pickups you can, there are pickups you can buy that helps you electrify your acoustic banjo, and they usually involve, you can't see it, they usually involve putting a really small little pickup right under the bridge right here, and then that will then go and be picked up, and then you get a nice, anyway, I built one into, I used to have a 4-string banjo, but I actually gave that away to somebody Did I sell it to them? I probably just gave it to them. Somebody who was like a mandolin player and really wanted a 4-string banjo. And I was like, here, you can have my 4-string banjo because I wanted to be nice. Hello, Brian. 1122334455667788. Let's go to the 1890 and play a banjo. You know, I'm really practicing this. There was this tune that I remembered that I used to be able to play. Yeah, the PISO pickup. And I really... And I forgot how to play it, and I really want to play it. Anyway, it's called the Sunflower Dance. Oh. Thanks, Krellin. I appreciate that. Here. Boom. Done. Game's off. Thank you. Lil Nas X, the style of Earl Scruggs. Yeah. So I turned off the game. We won't have it right now. It will not be bothering us. Anyway, I'm gonna play this song for you. Anyway, I just really want to remember how to play this one. Anyway, this is not the song I'm playing for you. It's this song that I really want, because it's really good. It's so good. But the problem is, here's the problem. I have the sheet music for it, but the sheet music is in my boxes because, as you know, I've not fully unpacked. And my banjo sheet music is actually still in boxes somewhere, and I'm trying to find that sheet music so I can just practice it again. There are a couple of really great instrumental pieces that I love playing on the banjo, and they're currently in storage, and so I'm not playing them for you, and I'm not practicing them, and that makes me sad. Anyway, no, I'm not getting distracted by the Sunflower Dance, even though I used to. Nope. I'm gonna play you a song. The song I'm gonna play for you today is called Arrow, and it's by Cheryl Wheeler. And I don't know if I got it, but I'm gonna do my very best to do it. And I'm just about to start, Rissa. I was mentioning that you had told me that Delta Green now has a solo ops. So can I play the good, the bad, and the ugly? No, I actually don't. I actually have not played it before, so I don't. No, I can't. I should think about it. The struggle was real. So we'll see how it goes. No, I don't like that. I don't like that banjo picking pattern. I'm gonna do a different one. I'm gonna do this one. Wish I could fall in love, though it only leads to trouble. Oh, I know it does. Still, I'd fool myself gladly just to feel I was in love, Wish I could feel my heartbeat rise and gaze into some gentle, warm, excited eyes, and fool myself as gladly as an arrow flies in windless skies. Oh, but I remember you in the TV light, holding you close to me where we lay. Now I wish I knew one of those softer nights, whispering quietly, feeling you turn to me. 'Cause only last night in winter dawn, that I dreamed of how you loved in all your innocence, and I never known a softer, warmer feeling since, or a truer heart. Maybe these dreams are leading me. Maybe love is not as gentle as my memory. Maybe time and whispered, half-remembered fantasies are the greatest part. Oh, but I remember you in the TV light, whispering quietly where we lay. And now I wish I knew one of those softer nights, whispering quietly, feeling you turn to me. I wish I could fall in love. Oh, it only leads to trouble. Oh, I know it does. Still I'd fool myself and gladly just to feel I was in love. By the way, grits is corn porridge. Oh. You know, I'm not a big fan of grits. I feel like I should like it, but I don't. Don't you have an institute library where they can get you the sheet music? Oh no, actually, the sheet music is actually, the piece is a classical banjo piece from like the 1890s, 19 teens. And one of the only places I can probably get that sheet music is from the American Banjo Fraternity, which does old banjo music. Our library would not have it. This is sort of like kind of obscure banjo music that would not be there. We need a cowboy hat. I've never been able to play well, but certainly never been able to sing and play for some reason. Guess you just have to practice it, Crit Twitch. You do. I'm not Southern Liking Grits. That's true. Liking Grits is not required. Thank you. Hey, Alyssa. How are you? Yeah, this is like it's not where I want it to be yet. This wasn't right. Wish I could fall in love. Oh, it only leads to trouble. Oh, I know it does. Still I'd fool myself and gladly just to feel I was in love, in love. Wish I could feel my heartbeat rise and gaze into some gentle, warm, excited eyes, and forgive myself as truly as an arrow flies in windless skies. Oh, but I remember you in the TV light, holding you close to me where we lay. Now I wish I knew one of those softer nights, whispering quietly, feeling you turn to me. It was only last night in the winter dawn. Oh, I dreamed of how you loved in all your innocence, and I never known a softer, warmer feeling since, or a truer heart. Maybe these dreams are leading me. Maybe love seas are the greatest part. Yeah. So anyway, I feel like actually I like that picking pattern better. I was doing this one. But actually I think I like So anyway, I think I like that. I think I like that one better. I think I like that picking pattern better. It flows better. Why does your banjo have a shorter string? That's what makes a banjo a banjo. That's one of the key parts of what makes a banjo different from a guitar, or actually really any other instrument except for some of the African instruments where the banjo, because the banjo comes from Africa originally, and the sort of the enconting and some of the other instruments that the banjo is descended from, one of the things that makes them what they are is that they have this short drone string, and right. So if you think about that, right, you've got the banjo being descendant from this African instrument. Kept the short drone string. Originally it was 4 strings, 3 regular strings, and then a short drone string. Then became the 5 strings that we know, the 4 here, and that gives you the so it gives you a lot of it. So it gives you the ability to sort of do a drone up here, and it becomes So this gives you the ability to actually do different kinds of runs, because if I'm here, that's my 5th drone string. And so it just gives you the ability to, you can play faster. It gives you a sense of, and if you're playing claw hammer, hey Jer, hey Techie Carrier, it's like a perma open chord position, and if you're playing claw hammer, which was the original style playing the banjo was not 3-finger scruggs. It was a style that I do not play because, I mean, I practiced it once or twice, but I mostly stick practicing 3-finger. We just practice. I never checked out what our music department has. I only know that my students empty the toner by copying music notes always. And then why don't we hear instruments like the lute or the dulcimer in popular music? You hear the dulcimer in folk music all the time, including folk music that is popular music. Like during the folk revival, people would play the dulcimer all the time. So anything that's like folk and folk adjacent, you can hear a dulcimer in that instrument, but you wouldn't hear it in. And the lute probably just isn't loud enough. So a friend of mine plays claw hammer, so I got him to play on a country project I was hired to do. So the claw hammer really is all about the drone string. And then, so if you're doing claw hammer, you're really going to be hitting that drone string a lot. That's like. Juba this, juba that. Juba played a yellow cat. Yeah, don't pop mics with lutes. Oh, no, but you pop mics with banjos, and you certainly pop mics when you're playing, although if I were playing claw hammer, I probably would not play claw hammer with this banjo. The claw hammer can get kind of loud, and so normally when you play claw hammer, you don't play it with a closed back, with what we call this a resonator banjo. So if you look at the banjo, right, so you've got the banjo here, and this right here, you can see it. this is the resonator, and what it does is it sort of projects all the sound forward. And if you're playing clawhammer, which is a little bit louder of a style, what you normally do is you play a banjo that doesn't have this resonator on it. It's what we call an open back, so it's just this rim, and then you play it again, you hold it against your chest, and then the rim, like the sound just kind of is muffled a bit more, so it goes into your body. Like with a shamisen, as far as understood, has drones, something in this. The shamisen and the banjo sound quite a lot alike, actually. Then we didn't have a mandolin, so I used my balalaka instead. It worked out for that project, at least. I'll be disappearing in 15 for massage therapy. Woo! Ooh. Yeah, no, this banjo is, it's my favorite. It's a Gibson Master Tone, which are nice, but this uses sort of gold rather than silver plated, which means the sound is darker and the wood is actually a little bit darker. I tend to like my banjos sounding much darker rather than brighter. So whatever I can do to get that a slightly darker sound is something that I appreciate, because then it sounds, you can really get something really nice up here. I'm playing right-handed. It's really, because the thing about banjos is that banjos, because they have the short drone string, you can't just re-string them. You'd have to get a specifically made 5-string banjo. Like if I wanted to play 5-string banjo left-handed, like that wouldn't do it, because then the drone's down here and none of it would work. So I play right-handed. I don't know if I'll ever get the speed of a right-handed person, because I'm picking with my right hand rather than my left. So I never know if I'll get, I don't know if I'll ever get full, like super, like I practiced hard to get my speed up. But I don't know if I'll ever get like the same kind of insane speed as you'd get if I were playing left-handed, but you know, it is life. I like my banjo like I like my games. I love my banjo. Yeah, thought you banjo reminded me of the buzzing of a shamisen. Having more strings in your banjo is like having a pop collar. It makes you cool. Yeah, it's a, you know, I should play that song next time. I'm not gonna play it this time. I can't understand anything, but but I'll learn. Sir Trooper the Third. Yeah, no, it's a. I should actually just go and take off the resonator and and just tighten up all my bolts. I feel like I just need to make sure that this is my banjo, and I love it. And I need to I don't know, like my banjo's just, I love my banjo, and I want to go and just polish the strings a little bit and make sure everything is fine with it, and the thing about banjos is that they are super, when I think of them, they are so, well, they don't have to be. There's a banjo that I don't have. I do not have, I would love to get a gourd banjo. The original banjos that were made by African Americans back in the day, right? When they came over, when black people were enslaved, brought to the United States, they started making banjos, which is, similar to instruments they had back home, and they originally were making out of gourds. So you can get a gourd banjo. There are not a lot of people, a couple places that make them. So they use the gourd, and they don't have frets. And I would love, and they're thumpier. They're really thumpy sounding. They're really sort of thump, 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 kind of a sound. And I would love to get a gourd banjo. I'd have to practice learning how to play fretless, and I'd have to practice clawhammer, clearly. But I would love a gourd banjo. I want a gourd banjo, and I want a MIDI banjo. How long have I had this banjo? Oh, I had a couple other banjos before this, some of which were really poor quality. This banjo I got, yeah, Banjo TLC Day. I got this banjo when I was an undergrad. I got it from my banjo teacher. Said because the banjo I had was a $500 banjo, which was really hard to play, and didn't have a great sound, but I didn't know that, and I was taking banjo lessons from this amazing banjo player, Bill Evans, who's really, really good. And he was like, your banjo is making it hard for you to get good at this instrument. You need a better banjo. And he went off to this big banjo festival, and he got me this banjo. It was like a $2,000 banjo. and he got it for me. I paid him, of course. And this is a good banjo. It's a really good banjo. And I must have had this banjo for 20 something years, probably. Yeah, Paladin Hulk. Banjos are expensive. Good banjos are expensive. They are like, you can get a cheap banjo for like $100 maybe. It's not gonna be a resonator banjo. Like, I think you can get a gold tone maybe for like $200. It will probably not be a resonator banjo. Those cost more. You might be able to get a cheap. You might be able to. No one's gonna steal your banjo. I have a joke about that. Drummer Boy says, I need to have a TLC day with my guitar soon. It's gonna be just the whole day thing because I have 4 guitars and a bottle of vodka. Yeah, and you just want to like tighten up everything, give it a polish. I remember you playing for us at Eben's house, guessing that, yes, it was this one. This was the one I played for you at Eben's house. And actually, believe it or not, I slipped and I fell at a performance once, and the banjo neck snapped. My banjo, the neck snapped, and I took it to a luthier who fixed it. So this banjo actually has been broken, like seriously broken, but it has been repaired and it still plays like forever. PH, you would pass out hearing what some violins cost. Oh yeah. PH, take that shower. Techie says, as someone who used to play the violin and invested in new one recently, instruments are expensive. Yeah, and this $2,000 was a steal. Like, this is not a $2,000 banjo. This is probably a $5,000 banjo in terms of quality, but it was used. I got it. My banjo teacher was able to get a deal for me, and he used his connections. He uses connections to get me what is basically a $5,000 banjo for $2,000, and that was. Like, I feel very lucky that I have this banjo because it's really good, everybody. This is a really good banjo. But I do need to give it a little bit of tender love and care. I need to put some fast fret on it. Yeah. But next Saturday, I will play something else for you all. I'm practicing on another song at the moment. And I hope that I'm just locking up my banjo because it's important, because my banjo is special and I'm not going to leave it out, not being taken care of. Well, speaking of which, here we go, little banjo. I'm back. So let's see. Luthiers are god tier. Yeah. Also, broken or repaired woods end up being stronger than natural woods, so it got a con bonus. Thank you. Yeah, this is a good banjo. I barely even look at my guitar. Too busy knitting. 5,000. You can get guitars cheap. Guitars you can get pretty cheaply, actually. $5,000. So that means when you buy an instrument in D&D for like 15G, you're getting a cheap one. Probably. That's probably true. Although 15 gold pieces is a lot for a commoner, right? Like, if you think like your average person, 15 gold is oh, that's true. That's fair. Yeah, that's like a mid-tier instrument, is what I would say. I bought my violin for $100, but have a couple luthier friends that could spruce it up. Yeah, and I only played triangle and hammer on the xylophone in elementary school. Yeah, no, it's really interesting. The MIDI banjo that I want is also $5,000, which is one of the reasons why I have not bought it yet. A mug of ale is about 4 copper, so 1 copper is roughly $1. 1 copper is roughly $1. Oh, I gotta tell you, so can we talk about D&D for a moment, just like for 1 second? I just want to have a quick conversation about D&D. Look, by the way, I appreciate you all indulging me as I play the banjo on stream. It's one of those things that if I do it, then I get practice in, and so you're all, because I am so out of practice. Like, my fingers used to be all in it, but I've not, like, I'm so out of practice. So me playing for you all on every Saturday means that I actually get I actually sort of force myself to play, and I will get my fingers back. Like you can't see it, but like you can't see. I'm getting my calluses back. I'm getting them back. I'll have it. Techie says, this reminds me, Trooper. I keep meaning to send you J Pistol's playlist of ukulele recaps for Rat Queens. Oh, I would love that. That sounds amazing. I want that. And then my patience ran out. Yeah, no, I don't mind. They're not back yet, but I will get them. I will get them. Yes, so thank you for indulging me while I'm playing the banjo. It's a thing that I will do and then by the time, if I can do this every week, I mean, the problem is I'm gonna be running out of sheet music, but it's fine. It's fine. Once a week, right? I'll play you. I'm gonna play something a little bit different next week, I think, depending on how it goes. Right? Maybe. Let me get a full screen here. Full screen. There we go. So, D&D. I got blisters on my fingers. Oh, be right. Woo! Thank you for those bits. They are much appreciated, and I feel like we all know what this means. Oh, hey, there are rewards that are giving to somebody, apparently. There are. I know that, by the way, in the song it's like I've got blisters on my fingers, but I always feel like it should be I've got ballistas on my fingers, like little ballistas. What are they doing? Is this I feel like it's a new one. There's a new one going on. So apparently bits are giving people stuff, and I'm excited about that. But Airway and hey the anime. Airway and hey the anime. Eve way at gale out way of way at way exte ute at gale young way. Airway and hey the anime. E they I skays are ani say. Old man the adiation pray ooh throw you a stay a swing rail. E way ever eat ray at lay einsley of way at bray einsley ute day. And way and we see the and Lord will look left the eye get ray in the IA. We're in the money. We're in the money. We've got a lot of what it takes to get along. Ooh, thank you very much. I love it. I love it. Oh, wow. These are bunnies. They're bunnies. See, here's what I'm feeling like. I'm feeling like it's the Old Man DA Depression, Old Man DA Depression Pray that I've got. Ooh ye are way ooh thray. I also have that. But it's right after ooh ye are way ooh thray, you are through. She says, you've done us wrong, which would be Uvie unde uswe ongreo. But I don't know if that's exactly what she says. Uye are uthre uvie uste uswe. No, see, I don't think that's right. Uye unde uswe ongreo. Uye are uthre uye uvie unde uswe ongreo. Uvie unde uswe ongreo. Uvie unde uswe ongreo. I think that's it. Uye are uthre uvie uste. See, I think uye are uthre uvie. Uye are way uthre uvie unde. I have to see. There's something right there in that one line. You are through. You've done us wrong. There's something that's off about that, and it's like it's bugging me. Ice Bunny wanted to try the piano, but the teacher was so bad. I mean, are you not learning to arrange music when you study it? Explain the question. Explain that question, Ice Bunny. Explain it. Explain it to me. Because I don't understand the question. Rephrase your question. Oh, thank you, Techie Carrier. Because if there's one thing I like, I really do enjoy songs that are recapping of episodes. I enjoy that very much. Okay, let me see. I wrote this story. Old man die pre uye are uthre. Oh, I see what happens. I wrote it down. I mean, make Disney songs so easy that a beginner can play them. Oh, that's, there's different philosophies on that one. Some people will not have, like, there are different sort of piano pedagogies. So that's what happened. She doesn't say uye, so for you, she just says you one day asweong reo. So I've been adding an extra syllable, and that's what's been bugging me. Oh, I remember what I was going to tell you. I didn't say it yet, but now I've got it. But it was uyare u threyu unde asweong reo. That's what it is. That's what it is. I've got to internalize that. So this is the thing I was thinking about with D&D. And then this is what it is. This dude had no... he probably did Ice Bunny, but it may not have matched with what you wanted. So this is what I was thinking about D&D. I was thinking about economics and how most people in D&D just don't make a lot of money every year, but adventurers end up getting all of this money. And I think about the ways in which adventurers sort of warp economies. I could really imagine people on one hand liking adventurers because they can just charge them 5 gold for an ale and they'll spend the 5 gold on an ale. But I can also see people being really frustrated with adventurers because they warp the economy. So I could see that being something that, right, I could see adventurers being a double-edged sword, and really thinking about how they impact the economy is sort of interesting to me. Adventurers are rock stars. Imagine how messed up a small town's economy is by a rock band coming through. Yeah, but it's also interesting because I think about what I imagine, sort of in my mind, what I imagine is, because I'm thinking about specifically small towns near dungeons, right? You know that little small town that's like near the edge of the forest, and in the forest there are a couple of dungeons, and so adventurers always come through that little small town. I imagine that small town becoming sort of like a tourist trap small town, where like this small town, they just have shops that sell like 50 feet of rope for way too much money. But like the locals don't charge each other that, but the locals like have these stores that are basically only aimed at the adventurers coming through just to fleece them for lots of money. Oh, see you, Rissa. I will see you later. To be fair, with how magic works in D&D, I think mages would mess them up more than adventurers. And in the hairband days, just a destructive. Well, that's true. Yes. Take care, Rissa. And so this is actually interesting because I wonder if you get these sort of like dual economies, and I'm interested in playing with that. And Techie says, oh, I've definitely played a bit with that in my game. My party opened a trading post and haven't realized yet how they've affected the other shops in the area. Oh, that's interesting too. The shopkeepers do not like them. Like I feel like there's a lot of interest. Like if you were interested in economics, I feel like you could do a lot of really interesting things. And with magic, it's interesting because people always want to say that magic will mess up the economy, but they're imagining Earth. You know how GURPS is. People in GURPS message boards. I love GURPS. I don't always love the message boards because people can get really rules lawyery and weird about things. And so people are like, magic is so unrealistic because everybody would just be, using blessed crop. Basically, people want to argue that you can't have a medieval fantasy world if there's magic, because the minute you have magic, then all of a sudden you'd be in modern day immediately. And I just don't think that's true. They're like, well, because if you had mages could or clerics, whatever, cast druids, bless crops, and all of a sudden you'd have crop yields that are similar to what we have today, not what you'd have in the medieval time period. And with modern day crop yields, all of a sudden we'd be living like with flying cars and in the future immediately. But I just feel like, one, that depends on how many mages you have. If you don't have a lot of mages, they're probably not going to be running around doing bless crops all the time. They have other things to do. Two, that also assumes that the land is as arable as our land. Maybe the only way that you can get medieval crop levels is by blessing the crops, like blessing the fields. Maybe if you don't have mages, everybody dies because the land is just not arable enough. So I mean, there's a lot of ways in which I think you can imagine magic interacting with the universe that does not immediately bring you up to the modern day. But people, you know how people are. Ice Bunny says, no, he had too much fun gaslighting me and making me think I will never figure it out, to the point I gave up, and years later I had to do a Danish language exam, and the external person asked what instrument I play because he figured I'm an audio learner. Interesting. Krellin says, I'd argue that a lot of fantasy games assume a society a bit closer to modern Renaissance than actually medieval. I think that's also true. I think that's also true, especially if you look at what kind of technology they have. It does that. I think that is true. Javai says, yeah, an economy with magic would be very different, but I would argue that base D&D economy tends towards a very Earth-like economy. Krellin says, I don't think most fantasy games assume that a population that is 90% farmers. I think it depends. I think early D&D did. I think when D&D went to that third edition, and with the points of light concept, where basically there are only a couple of points of civilization, everything else is wildness, then I think they don't. So that's right. So I think that, because that's the funny thing, right? That points of light. I thought points of light was 3E. No. Because I didn't play 4E, I was playing 3E, and I remember our discussion about points of light back then. So I thought that points of light was... Oh, Greyhawk. Thank you, Krellin. So now I'm too old to learn a more complex... Ice Bunny, you are never too old to learn a complex instrument. That's not true at all. There are lots of people who start learning instruments, you know, in their 70s, and they learn how to play and they become very good at it. You can learn how to play an instrument at any age. Don't listen to people who say you can only learn if you're 2 years old. You can learn to play an instrument anytime you want. The thing is, you just have to be willing to practice. If you want to do it, you can. You can learn to draw when you're older. You can learn to knit when you're older, or play an instrument when you're older. You can start singing when you're older. And also, Ice Bunny, you are not even that old. You are like, I think, a year or two younger than I am. Yeah, it's the difference. The reason why one of the reasons why it's easier when you're younger is because when you're younger, you don't have as good an idea of what good or bad is. So you'll play badly, because when you start playing something, you're going to play badly, right? And when you're young, you don't realize you're playing badly, so you just play through it and it doesn't bother you. When you're older, you know what good sounds like, and so you're like, oh, I sound bad, and you're more likely to be discouraged. But if you can get through the discouragement, you can totally make it, right? Yes, right. When you're young, you're bad at everything. And I was just reading a really interesting article that is actually one of the most difficult things for people who are older when it comes to learning new things, is they're harsher a judgment on themselves. They're like, oh, I know what good art looks like, and that is not good art, so I suck, and then they give up on it. Like that performance, like that I gave you this earlier today, you know, about an hour ago, I totally messed up all over the place because I'm out of practice. And did I hear every single mess up? I did. Was I like, oh, I did not sing that song as well as I could have. I did not play it as well as I could have. I did, but it's just you and I. We're all hanging out together, and I'm like, I will deal with it. Also, welcome back, PH. I'm glad that you're squeaky clean. So Krellin thinks, I don't think most fantasy games assume a population that is 90% farmers. It's tricky. That's a tricky thing, Krellin, because D&D itself doesn't really assume functioning economies, or I mean, like, it wants kings and queens, but it doesn't really have feudalism. D&D is super hand wavy when it comes to how things work. You know. I'm more interested in a little bit more of a. More farmers. I'm interested in more farmers is what I'm interested in. But a lot of, it's only polite to wave when people notice you. Yeah, so I'm interested in a little bit more. I'm interested in more farmers. All the medieval you want with none of the problematic aspects you don't. That is so true, Levi. Ice Bunny says, so music is like drawing. You only have to understand the technique and then put the 10,000 hours. Yeah, music. Well, everything 10,000 hours, my friend. You have to practice. You know, I mean, it's about muscle memory. It's like that's one of the reasons why I'm so rusty right now is because my muscles have sort of forgotten where everything is on the keyboard, right on the fretboard. So it's just practicing your rolls. Like you just have to practice, and get all of that in your muscle memory. So that's just why you have to do it. D&D's setting is very pick and choose elements from all of history. That is true. Javai, having a gold-based economy like D&D does would in itself be weird when you can access an entire plane of existence with gold. Jer asked, Trooper, are you excited about that World War I game I showed you? I am. I'm super excited about it because World War I is super interesting to me, and I cannot wait until they go into backer kit so I can get it. Like, as soon as they go into the backer kit, somebody better tweet me so I can go and order it right away. I'm very excited about that. Speaking of which, I need to make a tweet. Yes. But now, of course, like playing Mario World on the first-gen Game Boy. Yeah, right? I mean, basically, if you think about the people who are really, really good at video games, like super twitchy video games, they've often, like people who are amazing at Donkey Kong or people who are amazing at Tetris, they played 10,000 hours. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just about practice. If you practice, you'll get better. Like, that's it. And the question is, can you get better? Like, will you put in the time? Will you put in the time and will you practice smartly, right? And that's like with everything. Yeah, I'm really excited for Ross's Rifles, and I'm excited to order it. And I worry about the fact that I feel like I'm gonna be doing like all historical games all the time, and I do things that are not historical sometimes. I mean, I'm going to run a game that is not historical at some point in time, I swear. Well, the Night Witches were using World War I planes. They're basically fighting World War I. Whoa. They're basically fighting World War I, but they had, well, they were in World War I. Everybody else was in World War II, so that was awkward. Wah, wah. But can I tell you something? I want to fly a PO2. After having run Night Witches, I really want to fly in one of those planes. The problem, of course, is that those planes they're very few. I wonder if I want to fly in one. I want to learn how to fly a plane, and I want to learn how to fly a World War I biplane. That is what I want to do. And, you ran some Call of Cthulhu or whatever, not sure that Cthulhu is historical, except that it was set in the 30s, so it was also still a historical game. You should add Night Witches into World War I and then give them Napoleonic planes. I'll give them some Da Vinci, you know what I mean? Just a little bit of Da Vinci-style planes. You know what I haven't done? I have not turned on the sound. Here, let me give you sound. Because I turned off the sound and now you have it. They're about to unlock the medic playbook. Ooh. It's powered by the apocalypse. By the way, isn't this beautiful? Hey, there are people over there. We should talk to them. Let's talk to those people. I would love to back them on Kickstarter, but I don't.
She's not coming back.
She'll be back. She never falters.
Don't really want to give them money right now.
Then I'm the one who can throw a spear the farthest.
And I'm the one who can climb ice the fastest.
You have passed one test.
What's going on?
The next test is of silence.
What is going on? What would a game powered by the Rapture look like? This is a very good question. They still fly the planes that did the Luftbrücke in Berlin. Oh, the Luftbrücke. But those planes are from the 50s. So I'm just saying that those planes are a little bit more contemporary.
Crawl from that cauldron. We'll be ready.
I really want to, like, who are all these people? Let's find out. But I want to play I want to fly a World War I biplane. I feel like it'd be really interesting. Let's talk to this chieftain, everybody.
What are your hunters doing so far out here?
We are of the White Teeth, come down from the jawbone of Banur to test those who would run with us.
A test? In those hunting grounds?
No, it is an ordeal. Survive upon the glacier and the knife trail, as our ancestors did. It's been a harsh season. Two have yet to return. We shall wait. Then we shall bless their attempt. Then we shall leave.
Huh. Yeah, I know that sounds wild and crazy, and I probably will never do it, but I really would like to learn how to fly a World War I biplane. I feel like that would be really cool. And then I could be like one of the Night Witches, and I'd fly that little... I wonder if a tribe defined by their oral hygiene. Huh. I wonder if I could... I wonder if you can... Because, you know, back in the day you could build... I think Ashley Birch was playing Ashley Johnson when doing this role. Maybe. Because I know that back in the day there were kits. Like, I wonder if I could, like... if you could make a PO2 with a kit. I feel like I want, I'm just telling you my secret inner desire. I would love to do that. Let's ask about this test.
What does this ordeal involve?
To scale the glacier's face and endure 4 days and 4 nights, sustained only from the frozen ground of the machines. Our shaman has blessed the ordeal and permitted their harvest.
Metal to fashion weapons. The rest is forbidden.
Huh. Well, let's find out about these missing hunters.
What about the 2 who haven't returned?
It was their ordeal to face alone, their life or death. Those who return know the white teeth run alongside them. Those who do not know the white teeth marked their attempt.
How generous.
The white teeth. They've got very good oral hygiene. Now I'm picturing Trooper assembling a biplane from a giant Acme crate on campus. I would do it. Like, if I could get a place, I don't have those skills, but I would learn them because I think that would be super cool. Crit Twitch says, we had a World War II air show here. Almost got a ticket to fly in an old bomber. That would be cool. They had a 2-seater fighter, but I forgot what it was. That was out of my range. Javai says, Trooper, do you think Cthulhu games or other occult mystery games work better in a setting set before people had easy access to computers and internet and what have you, so information is harder to get a hold of? Yeah, I think that I think you can totally do it. You just have to figure out. You just have to do it a little bit differently. Is what I would say. There are ways to do. Because here's the thing about Cthulhu. Cthulhu, all of the, in some ways, I think, what do they call it? Eldritch horror or cosmic horror is another phrase. I think that still works in the modern day because, mainly because these are creatures that it's hard to stop them, right? They are more infinitely powerful and incomprehensible. So even if we have these things, it may not help. Also, you know what I did run? I did run a campaign once. I'm planning Exalted 3 in Modern Earth that will have some good old god themes. PH says, did you watch that movie about the dad investigating what happened to his daughter, but everything is on the internet? There you go. Yeah, I also have... here, I'll show you. Hold on. Why am I showing you my gaming books? Because that's what we do here. That's what we do here. That's why. It was, so this is, it's actually, I quite like it. I think this is, I quite enjoy it. So this is, here, so you can see it better. Oop. Here you go. GURPS Cthulhu Punk. Ancient horror crawls into the dark future. So this is cyberpunk plus Cthulhu. And it talks, and so this is sort of working with, right, sort of using Cthulhu in a future setting, and I think it actually works really well. I think it's a great take, and I really enjoy it. It's Alyssa Faye. It's because I'm a nerd. It is because I'm a nerd. So it's got right. It's got. And all of a sudden, like, the internet becomes a place where cosmic horror can also exist, right? These things infiltrate. Because here's the thing. Dread Cthulhu lies sleeping, and he contacts you in your dreams. And what is your virtual reality but not a dream. And so you can think about the ways in which Dread Cthulhu can start recruiting cultists through the net, the web, right? Virtual reality. So there's like right. So and then like, yeah. So there's some like cool things in here. Yeah. You're all talking about how like the horrors, right? You got Eldritch horrors in Shadowrun, right? Like so in Elder Sign. So I'm just saying that there's some good stuff. Now I want to run Cthulhu Punk. No. No. I'm not telling you no. I'm telling me no. I just want to run all the things all the time. No, but it was fun. I ran it once and no. Do it. Javai's like, do it. Maybe. Just because gathering information is easier doesn't make the unknowable truths of the great old ones more knowable. True. The only thing Trooper won't run is a marathon. Hey, one day I might run a marathon. I'm thinking about it. Like one day I might contemplate. Here, hold on a second. We're going to go over here for a minute because I'm going to do my wrist exercises. And while I'm doing my wrist exercises, I cannot, play. And I really should do my wrist exercises. So we're just going to go and chat a little bit while that is happening. My current one for that is Kids on Bikes. I've ran 3 sessions, and it's all I want to go back to. How much do you like Kids on Bikes? I've heard really good things about it. And I actually watched some Kids on Bikes on Geek and Sundry. Trooper is the best argument for cloning technology. If anyone needs more than one of themselves, you know, Levi, if I don't have cloning technology, all I need is the ability to time stop. I could time stop and get extra sleep and do prep, and my life would be so great. Too many ideas, not enough time. My life, yeah. Marathon was the original UK for a Snickers. We all run to one of those. Oh, that's so cool. Huh? I wonder where Snickers comes from, actually. While we're cloning, Maggie needs backup. Oh my gosh, right? So, Zach Morris had the most overpowered superpower. His ability to stop time and break the fourth wall. Yes. Speaking of Zach Morris, I love Zach Morris's trash from, I think it's College Humor or Comedy Central, one of those YouTube places that does those sorts of things. I love it very much. That's all. I got a book about time management for creatives. Oh, good. That sounds good. I ran a superhero high school game set in the Saved by the Bell universe. Zach Morris was the preppy, the Batman of the universe. Well, that makes sense. Also, he's a jerk. So that also makes a lot of sense. I totally buy it. Well, according to that web series, Zach Morris is trash. So, you know, hold on. I'm almost done. How did your superhero high game go? Yeah, there's just so many ideas, so little time, and that's. But I'm hoping to get more time. That is what I'm hoping. I really like KOB, Kids on Bikes. It's such a simple system. The rumor system is definitely a great part of it, and having every player contribute to the lore of the town. Nice. That is awesome. I was watching it on Geek and Sundry, and I liked it. Belding was the principal of the school. His power was being immune to superpowers. Yes. It went well for a while, but it was play-by-post, and like most play-by-post, it petered out. Yeah, that's true. That's one of the big sort of issues with play-by-post, that they do peter out. It's hard. After my master, it may work having a change schedule each 1/2 year is not made to have routines. You have to just figure out how to build a routine, you know, and if it matters to you, we'll do it. And I say this as a person who needs to get better at routine myself, but if it matters to you, you will do it. You'll find a way. And obviously I'm biased to Kids on Bikes because of Colic 2. Oh, right, as well. Well, it went well the second time I ran it, after forbidding my brother from playing a person with the power of invisibility. I'm supposed to do 20 of these, and I keep forgetting count. Jer asks, how is my wrist? Well, I'm doing more, right? Like, it's not, I think it's not, it's not where it needs to be yet. And I know that they gave me a new exercise to do, which I've stopped doing because I got permission to stop doing it. But they gave me a new exercise, which really let me know that I'm not actually better yet. And it's like a simple exercise where I'm on my hands and my knees, and then I just kind of lean over my hands a little bit, like I kind of rock back and forth. But just doing that gesture hurts, and so I'm not doing that. But I'm at the moment where I can do push-ups on my knees, and I'm lifting some light weights just to sort of give my wrist practice on holding weights and sort of getting that tension. So I'm getting better at it. My wrist is getting better. I have almost like when I'm doing my stretches right now, and when I do this one, I can still feel when I sort of release that stretch. I can still feel like. And what I should probably do is go to the acupuncturist and have them work on my extensor muscles, because that's the problem, is that my extensor muscles are too tight, and so I can't actually fully extend. So that's a thing we got going on. I also made all the players be heroes instead of sidekicks the second time around, because it was also set in the Sky universe. Oh. Yeah, progress is good. I'm getting there. Jer asked, Techie, did we ever figure out what was going on with that fake colic Twitter? Still there, looks like the person was a fan of one of the cast and didn't realize the harm they were doing using Hyper's logo and show name as their handle. Oh, yeah, people are not great sometimes. Tangentially related, I started exercising the other day, and I think I hurt myself on the warm-up. Hey, you can always try, I like dareby.com. It's like nerd fitness kind of space. And they've got some nice body weight things that don't, like, they're just like, like squats and sort of like, like some punches. It's a nice to start yourself off on, I find. We're going to ask about the white teeth.
So who are the White Teeth?
Warriors. The first and the best. All young hunters hungry for the fight seek to run with us. Now the machines are angered. There was always fighting. We are well served, eh, Shaman?
Every day lightning cracks in the smoke of battle. Every night a new name to honor in song.
Oof. White teeth are totally from Hollywood, PH. That is a true statement. I feel like I'm missing things I want to tell
You're
you all,
from
but I can't remember.
Do you know about Aratak and Araya?
Strong names indeed. They have many songs. But there is a reason they roam out here, in the cut, and not among the great Waraks. This obsession with Thundersdrum will be their undoing.
Ooh. I need to get into an exercise regime. Bought new pants today and cried. Yeah, I need to, like, right now I'm exercising 4 times a day, but all the exercises are my wrist exercises. I'm doing a little bit of weights now, not much, but a little bit. And I would like to get into a real exercise routine. It's just a little bit rough to do so. It's rough. I also need to eat more regularly. That's a thing I need to do, because I don't eat regularly enough. And that is not good for you. You cannot lose weight if you don't eat. And I just need to eat more. And I would like to, I don't know, I need to, but the problem is because of my wrist, there's a lot of exercises I can't do. So I should probably go running, but I have no time.
Aren't you even going to look for your missing hunters?
In time. As months pass, the meltwater often carries the bodies out.
Wow.
Unbelievable. If there's a chance they're alive, then I'll look for them.
Even if they did still live, they will not accept your aid, Outlander. To us, survival is sacred.
Nothing else can be relied upon.
We'll see.
Well.
Each other again. If I didn't know any better, I'd think you were following me.
Well.
Survival's sacred. So they leave people to die?
We've never faced anything like the machines that guard.
Well. Aloy has got some feelings. Yeah, I also don't have good food in my house at the moment, and I need to deal with that as well. All right, so what are we doing? Okay. What is all of this? What's happening? I'm up here. So here's where I'm at. I'm up here at the moment. There's a lot of stuff, because this is where we left off. 30 grams of fat is the minimum per day. Lowest the doc put me on was 40, and holding is 80 grams of fat a day. We believe in survival and giant hats. That is true about them. Jer, yeah, I started gaining weight around the time I went on stamps. Yeah, not enough food makes the metabolism slow down to a crawl. That is really true. It's, I'm gonna just actually jump here and, I'm gonna just jump there because I want to get to the point where I can upgrade my spear, and then we'll go off and like do things in the world. Like we're gonna get our spear upgraded. Yeah, so I started gaining weight as my mental health got worse. I mean, this is the thing. Like, it's so easy to, when you're not right, people often think, oh, if you have weight, it's because you eat too much. But oftentimes it's not that. You don't eat enough, then your metabolism slows down. If your mental health is not in the good space, if you don't get enough sleep, which is also one of my problems, I never get enough sleep. And I mean, I got like almost 9 hours today, which I'm pretty proud of. But like, not too often I just get like, yeah, don't get enough sleep if you're too stressed. If you like, there's so much that helps you, that can throw off your metabolism. And I think it's, you know, we have to be kind to people. That's all. And then also we don't have, like, our lifestyle's not really great in the current day. But like at this moment, I don't think I have any food. I know I have like a can of beans, I have some ramen, but I also eat on campus, so 80 grams a day per week.
Able to kill the Sun King doesn't mean he's any
so when
less
you pig out one day, you
should pay.
just eat less fat, and sleep is overrated. Sleep is important.
It must be against the Sun King's laws to ride machines. Sure.
Hey, leave me alone. I'm so tired. When they told me I'd be sleeping to fishes, I said thank you. But if we're kind people, how will we know which ways we're better than them? Oh, Levi. Oh, Levi. Sleep is underrated. So we want to go here. We want to go this way. Let's make our way.
I work hard every day. Sleep like a rock every night.
I don't even know which way we're going, but we're going this way.
So there are Oseram and the Sun.
This is it. We're heading out this way. This is what we're doing. Sleep is underrated. Sleep is underrated. I need more sleep in my life. It's cool though. Also, I feel like I'm going the wrong way. Hello, people. Oh, you know what though? There is a, I feel like there's paint that I can get. I just have to look for it. That's not what I'm looking for. What do we have? We've got a lot of animals. Supply crates. Pigment. Here we go. I saw a thing that said routinely getting less than 6 hours sleep a night is a strong indicator for Alzheimer's.
This blue gleam is worth.
Oh, really? Wow. Mount can't enter this location. Okay, well, that's fine. I will get off the mount. I'm looking for pigment. We're gathering,
Sakuli will want this.
we're gathering as much as we can. Okay. Yeah, I just need to get more sleep. It's really bad. I need to get more sleep and eat better. No, breakfast is important. Like, I will tell you, when I was actually the most healthy and my weight was really, like, when I was like really sort of like in a healthy space and doing well when it came to like fitness and all of that, I was eating breakfast. I was eating 4 to 5 times a day, and I was sleeping a lot Like, and then I was like, when I was doing that, I would have breakfast, and then I'd have like a little a snack, then I had lunch, then a snack, and then dinner. When I did that, and I ate 5 times a day, and I got like 8 hours of sleep, and I was working out, I was in good shape. It was good. I wish I could sleep for more than 4 hours at a time. I'm gonna talk to my doctor about that. Oh, you should, Alyssa Faye, because maybe you need a CPAP machine or something. I wonder if that's because the brain doesn't do as much neural pruning. Maybe, Jer. Yeah, optimally you should eat like 5 times a day, they say. Like around that. Around 5 times a day. Like that's optimal. Like smaller meals.
Hush, hush. A shaman's secrets are not spoken aloud.
Is this what you wanted me to find?
Bind it to your spear. Use it to attach this for now. You'll find more, I'm sure.
Why are you helping me?
The blue light is fading. The machine songs are ending, and what does the conclave do? They sit, they chant, they observe. No more. We must fight for it. And you are a fighter. We share a cause.
I'm not sure we do. I'm not even sure what the cause is. But I'm grateful.
Well,
No need for thanks, only action.
Now I can attach modification parts to my spear.
ooh,
Works for me. Might as well get started improving my spear.
nice. I'm excited about this. You know, nobody says breakfast has to be at 6 in the morning, is all I'm saying. That's all. I'm not saying that breakfast has to be at 6 in the morning. Breakfast can be at 10 a.m. if you like. Doesn't make it not breakfast anymore. It's still breakfast. All right, what do we have? Spear modification box. A weapon coil. Okay. Before 10, I can only get a... you know, let me tell you what's bad. I'm going to tell you what's bad. What's bad is what I often do, which is, for example, not eating until 5 o'clock at night and then eating once. Like, that's bad. Like, that is not a good thing to do. Don't do that. Hey, look, I can modify my spear. Silence Lance. Yeah, PH knows, it is bad. It's not good. My problem with eating 5 times a day is that I'm really bad at eating small meals and actually tend towards small. I feel personally attacked. Levi you know what? When I was, when you take antibiotics, like, because I had to take antibiotics because I had when I had my tooth pulled or whatever it was, and I had to take these antibiotics like 3 times a day because they were like whatever, but I had to eat them with food, and I was like, oh, I have to eat 3 times a day. But Alyssa, if you get used to eating smaller meals, it's actually pretty good. I feel like there's one override I have not unlocked. So let's see what we can do. We have got 2 upgrades. This is all spear damage. Oh. Let's do all the spear damage. Yeah. Woo! Spear damage! My spear's gonna have all the damage, and I'm feeling really good about this right now. Maybe we'll get even better spear stuff, but at the moment it's good. And what is this? The Storm Slinger. What is that? I feel sick all day if I eat breakfast, but I've started eating some crackers every morning. I'm about to drop a truth bomb. There's no universal standard for healthy, and what's good for one person may not be good for another. This is true. Some people live their whole lives addicted to heroin and they seem fine. I love what the Italians, so 9 p.m., a big 4-course meal, because when you eat late, you don't need to eat bread in the mornings. Empty slot. I've never used this weapon, and I feel like I should. Let's give... let's do... We could do that. That doesn't do a lot. Well... let's do, this. I've never used this weapon, and I feel like I should try it out at some point in time. Why do I gotta call it Keith Richards like that? Hey, it works. He's still alive. You know what I mean? Like, he's still alive. According to my parents, the only opinion in the morning, on top of that, some sweet stuff. The only option in the morning, and on top of that, here's the thing. I eat the only option in the morning, and on top with some sweet stuff on it. So here's the thing. For me, I eat when I wake up, right? I eat when I wake up. And when I wake up might be later in the morning than when other people wake up. And, you know, that's okay. Like, I think it's good to eat to get your metabolism going, but when the morning is gonna be different for everybody. And that's all right. All right, so here we are. Where's my mount? Hey, I got a skill point. Sorry, I'm very excited. What's a morning? Morning is when you wake up. I mean, and most of the time I do wake up in technically the morning, so, you know, it's fine. This is fighting back. Heavy spear attacks deal increased damage when Aloy's health is low. That sounds good to me. And let's do that. Oh. I don't have enough skill points. Sorry. I faked you out. What are we doing? We just... Okay, hold on. What's with our life right now? By the way, there are things we can do with our lives. Let's... I don't know. I know I almost have all the skills, but I don't have them all yet. So why don't we... You know... What is this one? This one is complete a trial at the hunting grounds. What is this one? Clear out the bandit camp. Let's do that. Let's clear out a bandit camp because we can do that. Let's do it. And on the way, we'll just grab some blue gleam. That's what we'll do. That's all. That's it. And we're gonna, and see, here's why I picked that one. We picked that one, and it gives me an excuse to just sort of ride around and chat with you all a little bit. And who doesn't want that? There we go. Whew. So anyway, I wish, I don't know. I actually feel like running, I'm looking for blue gleam, everybody. I actually feel like running, oh. You slowly turn into a picky eater? I actually would really like to run...
Fistful of blue gleams worth braving the cold.
Fantasy again. Like a fantasy campaign, and I have a thing that I want to do. I have an idea. I want to clear this waypoint. What do we have? I feel like we've got something going on, but I don't need to worry about it. Maybe? I don't know. Oh! Yeah, no, I've got an idea for a campaign. It's sort of like it's sort of an anti-colonial campaign that has sort of concepts that sort of... So basically, one of the things I was thinking of was, you know how a lot of games will have, a lot of channels will have sort of means of donation, like, you know, you donate for whatever, and I've never really liked how it's been done. There've been only a couple of ways that I've liked it.
Here we go.
No, that's not what I want. Get off. Like most of the ways I've seen sort of donations done have not been ways that I've liked. And so I gave myself the challenge of thinking about how do you do donations interactions in ways that don't warp the game or mess up the game, and there are a lot of different ways in which that can happen. So I thought about that a lot, and like, because there's so many ways. Like, I was thinking about how in Corporate Sins, at first they were giving them edge, and that just really messed up the game balance in ways that they were not happy about. They didn't like that. And so that was like not great. So then they moved over to ooh. Yeah, like, no, something roll 1,000 extra dice. So then the edge didn't work, right? And then they moved from that to extra dice, but then that didn't work out very well either. That was kind of messing things up. Hold on. That was not what I wanted. I was gonna go over there, right over there, but I think there's a big old monster over there. There are lots of big monsters over there. And that's less useful. Let me hide. Okay. Hello, Demonic Scorcher. Weakness to ice. Hold on. Maybe I can... Wrong button. Wrong button, everybody. Hey, guess what? I was not ready. And, we've got some trouble now because I wasn't ready, and, I need things that I don't have. I need things I don't have. You know when you're, like, hanging out, and you're like, hey, everybody, how are you doing? And it was not good. I want to do a game where you live in a town country that's being colonized, culture taken over by elves. Unless the system was designed from the ground up to be streamed that way. Right, and I'm thinking about basically I've been pondering ways to have from the beginning, like from the get-go, ways to include a kind of a donation system, but from the very beginning. Let's do the Shadow Warbow, and let's put that here, and then let's see if we can do this. Oh, hi. What's happening right now? Why are people, like, feeling attacked? I think I'm getting help. But I also am not quite certain this is really useful for me right now. I want to put ice on this thing all over the place. Hey, you know... I have help, everyone. Also, I have no ammo, but that's cool. Hey everybody. I'm also fighting the wrong one right now. And, you know, this is not great. You know when you're in a fight and you've got creatures all over your face and it's not like a great situation? I don't know if you've ever been in that, like if you ever had that experience, because I have. I'm actually having it right now. And let's use potions. Let's do that. There are two of them, and they're all on me, and I can't even see what's happening, and I feel like I'm dying. Oh, and I am dying. That's cool. In case you were wondering, I was indeed dying right there. That's awesome. You know what we need to do? Here's what we're gonna do, everybody. Since I'm dying, we are going to do this. Where are you? gosh. Oh, hello. Here we go. Nope. Wrong place, wrong button, wrong button. Wrong. Ooh! Ouch. Okay. Sorry about that. I was trying to get to my healing potion and I did not get it. That was bad. Yeah, so anyway, I'm designing a system in my mind from the ground up that would take donations into account in a way that I think would really work well with the system and not warp it. So I have an idea that I'm working on. It's part of this fantasy thing and sort of anti-colonial, and I think it'll be really interesting. But I think it's also built into some really hard choices, and I think that's really exciting for me.
Her friend, the rock painter. Seems paintings mean a lot to the Banuk.
Okay, let's see. I mean, you will not get the binge out of me. It is the once ED, always ED. You can just get stable, not healed. I mean, picky as in trying to eat as healthy as I can without saying foods are forbidden. Well, that's good. This would be 100% all poor humans. We know better than you. We're erasing your pesky culture that's holding you back. You're welcome. See how this hospital has a much lower body count? What? You want to be a doctor? Psh, Elves spent 100 years in medical school, and sadly you don't live that long. You can be a nurse, though. I like it. Thank you for that more death. Will donations help the colonizers, or will you do the audience PvP thing where they pick which side? Well, the players are not colonizers. The players are the people whose land is being colonized. And donations will be actually tied into a magic system. Where am I right now? Wow. Where am I? Where did I get pitched? What is happening in my life? I think I just got... What? Okay, well... So, I got jumped back all over the place. And that's... We're gonna just deal with that. I don't even know where I am anymore. But that's okay. Yeah, so the donations are gonna be tied into a magic system that I'm thinking about, and it would be to sort of help the players.
Help me out, Laura.
By the way, I died. That was a lot.
Back to the tunnel. Can other machines be
No, donations do not hurt the players.
Some say Sakui's painting stuff.
I know. Where am I? Yeah, no, donations do not help the players. Donations help the players. I'm not really into... like, I'm not super into antagonistic. Yeah, I'm not into donations hurting the players. I'm not into it. I'm not into donations hurting the players. I feel like donations hurting the players can be exciting and fun, but it's not what I want, and I don't always like what that encourages in chat. So the donations would not hurt the players. The donations would be, yeah, it's a mixed bag. Like, I think some people like it, but it's not my thing. It's not what I'm thinking about. And the thing is, basically, what I want is for the donations to be diegetic, as it were, right? So that what is happening is not a meta thing, but it's actually part of the world itself. So that when you're, like, what you're doing is actually part of the world. I don't want it to be no, I don't want a community of trolls, basically.
We'll retake Stone.
No, and it's not what that's what some shows do. It's not what all shows do. And certain shows really like developing a community of trolls. And also, a community of trolls really makes a lot of money. I think about how Death from Above made so much. It was like one of their highest on Hyper. Death from Above brought in some of their most money because people really loved trolling, right? So you had, they encouraged, right, that particular kind of thing. And chat are the spirits of the land helping the players fight back against colonizers. Basically, Krellin, that is basically what they are. I mean, they're more they are more the ancestors of the players than they are the spirits of the land, but those things are actually sort of connected. So the chat are basically the ancestors' spirits of the land and of the players that are helping to fight back against the colonizers. So it's like Spirit Island, the TTRPG, with the players being the Dahan and the chat being the spirits. Basically, it's like that. Yeah. DFA was their biggest earner at times, yes. Warhammer is similar now, but the incentives are not as extreme as DFA was. And I mean, like, the thing is that, you know, if you can get money, you can earn a lot of money by sort of encouraging a troll culture. And so,
Ours is the real thing.
you know, that is certainly a thing. Maggie's game also had one specific antagonistic donor that ended up giving a lot of money to charity in return for messing with our characters. And right, that is certainly, right, and this is, and Levi, exactly right. The colonizers don't have their ancestral spirits nearby. Exactly. So it's about in this game that you would be the chat. Basically, they are ancestral spirits who can sort of help the players by being.
How many great warriors have they ignored?
In this particular. If they did, they wouldn't be colonizing, yeah. And in this particular setting that I have, the colonizers have cut themselves off from their ancestors specifically because ancestor spirit magic is slow.
Help me out, Nora.
And they have developed fast magic.
You're still breathing.
So it's so there are these tensions between the colonizers having fast magic that is powerful and fast that can be like boom, like they can throw fireballs, right? So like the colonizers can throw fireballs, but the player characters who start off as the people in this land, they do a kind of a spirit magic that is slow and can build up, right? So it takes time and energy because the magic that they do is in harmony with the land, right? So they slowly build up energy, right, in order to sort of create magic. This is one of the reasons why this particular game has to be done in GURPS, because GURPS has multiple different magic systems, and the way that I'm imagining it is that the colonizers use one particular magic system, and then the PCs, the players, use a different magic system, one that is slower. Welcome back, Brian. And so the players sort of slowly pull magic from the environment in ways that are sustainable. And chat as the end, and they also sort of honor their ancestors through deeds. And so there's like they've got kind of two different aspects they can access two different sorts of magic. One is ancestor magic, and one is sort of environmental magic. They can do these two things, and the colonizers they don't care about sustainability. Preservers versus Despoilers from Dark Sun. I have to go and read Dark Sun. I've never read it. I should check it out.
Abandoned us to the Karja.
Welcome to the coffee. So, Techie, is Warhammer their new bread earner, or is it just the mini donor similar game they do?
I became complacent.
Defilers. Yeah, so I should read Dark Sun, but they, right? The colonizers have cut themselves off from. They basically are just like, we don't actually care about sustainability. We're gonna have big magic, fast, and they have destroyed their own lands. The reason why they're colonizing is because. Oh, I'm glad that Kolek does well for them. What is their? I'm sure that Kolek has a donation model. What is Kolek's donation model? So they. What is Kolek's donation model? Sorry, I had to sneaks behind Trooper and pops a good. That's fine. We are talking about donation. We're talking about a fantasy setting that I want to run, that I'm developing, and also donations in RPGs. Warhammer is both at the moment. Kolek is second.
I'd march over to Stone.
The last I knew, you could donate to add rumors to the game.
Later didn't have that fiery cannon.
So yeah, because I'm interested in their models. And the colonizers have cut themselves off from their ancestors and from the land, and they also sort of they've destroyed their land through their industrialization, and so they need new lands now. Like they're colonizing not just because they're like we're greedy, but because they've destroyed like they've ecologically destroyed their home, so they must go to new places, and so they're going to go off, and like the game will start when the PCs first see that these new people are coming. And that's so it gets about like it's that moment of colonization, like where the colonizers first land on the land of the PCs, and that's where we're going to start.
Good.
But there's also a bunch of other things. For example, the colonizers don't heal because they have basically taken themselves out of the natural cycle of things. So colonizers don't heal. Well, they don't heal naturally. They can heal, but they're healing. No, this is an RPG. This is an RPG that I'm designing. They're a little bit like vampires. The colonizers, they don't naturally heal. They have to take energy from other people. And do we have a Halloween stream? Oh. Yeah, so they're kind of like vampires of both people and the land. So that's like and then the PCs are actually plants. So all the PCs are basically plant people, is one of the things that I'm thinking of. So I'm sort of like I have to work out a template on how they work, but the PCs are basically plants. They're plant people. They're not human beings. Because I really want to go for like a very different kind of a fantasy world where our PCs, for example, if you cut them, they bleed, but they bleed sap, right? Because our PCs are basically sort of plant tree people. And that's why the spirits of their ancestors and the spirits of the land are kind of the same thing. Exactly, right? The spirits of their ancestors and the spirits of the land are kind of the same thing because they themselves are actually, right, of... well, it's dark fantasy, but also there's some kind of lightness in it. So +1 tokens, which are also used for their powered characters or triggered powers using multiple NPCs and evidence to rumors. The rumors are 4 preset, but you donate to vote up the one you want to be effective. They also do a chat vote for the rumors too. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so like this, so part of what I'm thinking about is sort of designing a system where if there are going to be donations, it's actually built into the lore of the game itself. I'm sorry you smeared ink on the page. So it's built into the lore of like it's built in mechanically to the game from the very beginning. It's not something that's added on to some other system. But it's built in, and so the players are basically, the chat gets to be these sort of ancestor land spirits, and the players are what the players are doing is that they can have access to sort of magic on their own, but they also they honor their ancestors and their spirits by doing deeds that sort of fill in basically the currency for this. Also, there won't be money in this game. I think I prefer the donation model on Saving Throw Show, where you contribute to a pool that unlocks things in the game as it accumulates. This is going to be a kind of an accumulation situation as well with this one, where so basically the people of this land who are kind of tree plants. I'm still working through some of the bits, but basically there's no money in this game. Like, it's not a capitalist system. So that doesn't work that way, and I'm trying to just work out how I want this to sort of function in terms of like equipment and all that business. But the ancestor I play wants my PC descendant to start a family. I'm already dead. How much longer do I have to wait for grandkids? So basically, rather than money, it's energy, it's memory, it's honoring. So it's sort of gifting. It's like a gift economy. And one of the most important gifts is to honor an ancestor, right? So there are these families, and each family has like a lineage of ancestors, and being in a family is important. So that when people honor your so like, for example, if I am the ruler, the chieftain of this group of people is of a family that everybody gives honor to, right? So they give honor to this family that gives them the most power, which means they can do the most stuff. And then you have sort of, it's like a wheel with spokes. Here I'm talking about this campaign. Yeah, it's anti-colonialism, anti-capitalism, pro-environmental sustainability. So basically, yes, chat would donate to an ancestor's mana. To an ancestor's mana. So basically, if you come from a family and your family is known for making great art, That is what your family is known for. Your ancestral line is known for doing great art. You can create art and then you gift that art to people, and in return, they honor your family line and they think on your family line, which gives your family line mana, right? So, and then you as a player, if you are a player who's of that ancestral line, you go out in the world and you try to make a name for your family. And in this particular case, by doing great art and spreading your art, spreading stories, making so that people will remember and think about your ancestors. And so you do that by doing this great art, and that will then add mana to your family line, which then you can use to do things. Now, what's tricky is that what if you are from that family line and you don't want to do great art, right? So much energy in your family has been sort of dedicated to doing art. And what if you want to be a warrior that doesn't do art?
Help me out.
You have options. You can be fostered into a different family, right? So you can be fostered into a different family that is a bit more warlike, and then that becomes a family that you then honor those ancestors, and they will then sustain you. Or sometimes families can have coups in them, right? Like if you decide that you want to change what your family's ancestry is about, you can decide that you want your name to be associated with great warriors rather than art. And so you can start doing great acts of heroism and warriorness and start putting energy into your family line that way. And if you do that, you're going against your ancestors, but you will then eventually become an ancestor. And so there are these interesting ways in which you can be fostered out into a different family whose energy is a bit more in line with what you want to do, or you can try to change your family line, and some family lines are muddied and unclear. Clans can be a chosen thing. No, Dad, I want to eat rice, not beans, for example. Yes. It just has to turn war into art, obviously. Paint with the enemies. There are ways, how can you sort of... And so, yes, clans can be a chosen thing. And you can make a new family line, right? And you can make a new family line. You can foster into a different family. You can try to change your family line. So there's a lot of interesting politics with how family lines can be and what kind of things you might have access to. And clans are certainly... can certainly be chosen, and so yeah, your clan, there are ceremonies that you do to sort of bring yourself into a family line. Like a tree growing a new branch, I fight against the colonizers and begin the branch of heroism, for example. I want to do art. Can I put war paint on the warriors as a contribution? Yes, you can, right? That's a thing that you can do. So there are all these ways in which your family line will give you access to certain kinds of... the concentration of your ancestral line will give you access to certain kinds of magics. So you've got family line magics, and you've got your own magics, and they can inform each other. And so there's kind of a ancestral politics. And maybe you are currently in an ancestral line that is mostly about art, but maybe you did have once in your ancestral line a great warrior, and that ancestor is still around, and maybe that ancestor wants you to help bring back that part of that family line's lineage. So there's gonna be the way I imagine it, there'll be a lot of really interesting sort of living and dead clan politics, fostering in and out politics. And there's more. I've got a whole setup of one of the things I also was thinking about here. We're going to come back here for a moment. One of the things I was also thinking about was why do people adventure? What is it about? Because I kind of just don't want murder hobos, right? That's not what I want. So I wanted to think of. So what if I was Brian the 44th? So if my son Brian wants a new family line, he becomes Brian the 1st. Yes, that's right. Now doing that is really risky, because if you do that, if you decide you want to make a brand new line, you have no ancestral power, right? Because you've just done it all yourself. You can do it, but all of a sudden you no longer have all that entire generation of ancestors giving you energy and you giving energy back to them. So there's a lot of really interesting politics there. Living families are complicated. Communing with ancestors make it really challenging and interesting. That's what I was thinking, right? So that becomes this really fascinating thing. And I was also thinking about, why do we have in this world, why do people adventure? And I wanted a reason why people would adventure. And the reason why people adventure, there's like a bunch of different reasons why I think people are adventuring this one, and that there are people who stay at home and people who would adventure, and the person who will be the next one in line to sort of run that clan would not adventure. They would stay because they need to be trained. Then there are people who are going to go off and adventure, but what they're doing is that the goal is to spread the stories of their ancestors, right? So you go and adventure so you can gather new stories, but it's like you want to go off and do great deeds to help your ancestors. So you'll have somebody who will stay home, who's going to be the next leader of that clan. And which is, and usually you'll have different communities, and one community will be led by a clan, but there'll be people from different clans in that one community. But you'll want to go. They want people from their clan to go off to do great deeds, and great deeds might be like building a home for someone if you're from a builder clan, or doing great art in a different community if you're from an art clan. But you want to do things to sort of bring honor to your ancestors, which then sort of feeds. How connected will viewer donations be to the system overall? Will it be central and hard to remove? Optional? The system is designed around it. The entire campaign is designed. So I could take them out, but part of the thing I was thinking about was wanting to create a system where donations are actually part of the system and not an add-on, right? So that they're actually sort of the system is made with it in mind. Krellin, I'm an adventurer because I'm the second sprout, and that's my role. Exactly, right? So that second and third sprouts, their role is to go out. And what I think about it is that it's actually really interesting because second sprouts, third sprouts, they can come back and they can challenge the heir to the clan. If they wanted to sort of do that. But very often, I'm also thinking about PTSD. Like, there are a lot of themes that I want to sort of go on in there that I think is really interesting sort of in this. It sounds sort of like a Roddenberry type future. I mean that in a good way, that will all contribute to society as a whole based on their skill. Yes, right, and that is how you make society better, right? Black Panther-like? Yeah, I suppose, but it's a bit more, sort of. But the thing is that very often people don't necessarily want to, right? Like being named the person who will take over the clan is not necessarily something. Like some people are named that because they've got the best skills, and they're like, well, but I'd rather go off and adventure, right? Like I'm sitting here, but I'm not going off doing those great things that I want to do. And other people who are like going off doing great things, maybe they want to stay home. And so there's like a way in which I think there's some kind of interesting tension between those who are chosen to stay at home and those who go off, and that'll be kind of fun and interesting. How will it balance if, for example, during one stream, several streams, there's a low amount of... That's fine. There also can be no donations because if nobody donates, that's fine, because it's also cumulative. It's a cumulative thing where donations help build into ancestral power over time, and the players can then tap into that ancestral power to do things, right? So they can ask their ancestors, "Oh, when you lose your clan, that's bad. That's bad." So you can ask your ancestors for gifts and for favors, and so they can. Then the ancestors can aid you. So it's one of these things where people can donate to sort of help give the ancestors more power, which then means over time that builds up and the players can ask for bigger things from the ancestors. If nobody donates, then they're not going to be able to get special things from the ancestors that way. They're going to have to be a little bit more self-reliant, which of course they can be. They can also then do things themselves to try to sort of give to the ancestors, right? So they can... what's stopping the clans from becoming like a caste system? Who says that it isn't like a caste system? In this thing, you've got a chiefdom, right? You've got... this, you can imagine it like a wheel with spokes. The person who's in charge, the person who's the chief of the land, has got the ancestors who've got the most the most energy flowing to them, and those people want to make sure that they continue to get the most energy flowing to them. And then you've got a circle of families of clans that are closer to the center who also get more energy sent to them. They're like bigger clans, more famous names, more energy for their ancestors. And then you've got outer spokes, right, with people who are smaller clans. And
First time you took down a machine.
so what ends up happening is people often move outwards, right? So people in the sort of like the larger clans will often go out to the slightly less, so the smaller clans, and do their service in the smaller clans to ensure that the smaller clans on the outside will give their energy to these bigger clans on the inside, and then the bigger clans give their energy to like the chieftain. And the players are going to be from one of the smaller clans on the outer ring, and they will then go off into the wilds, right, to go and do adventure. So
Help me out, Nora, would you?
energy sounds very fatal. And then, of course, what's interesting is that when you do your travels, right? When you, I can't remember what name I gave them a name for this journey. You do a journey. It lasts. It's like wandering a, journeyman. It's like people are journeymen, right? So some group of people become journeymen and they go out. And if you're from like one of the inner ring, your journeyman time is actually in just sort of like smaller communities, so it's not particularly dangerous. But if you're in a smaller community, your journeyman time is going to be out in the wilds, which then makes it more dangerous. Is there some kind of hierarchy among different kinds of clans? Like maybe warrior clans generally get better treatment than builder clans or something. In Aramente, I would say that there is hierarchy among the clans, but it's not that builder clans, that warrior clans get better treatment than builder clans. It's more like clans who have better reputations. It's all based on reputation, right? So it's all based on reputation. So you could, if you are an art clan that has amazing reputation, you will be treated better than a warrior clan that does not have a good reputation. If you're a warrior clan with a great reputation. So I imagine that inner circle will be a wide variety of different types of clans, but they're the ones who've been able to gather the most sort of prestige for their clan. So, like, there will be a warrior clan with the best reputation. There'll be a builder clan with the because all the things that society needs. Like every time you think about food, you're going to be thinking about farmers, and when you eat the food, you're going to want to thank a farmer clan. So there's going to be a farmer clan that's going to want to be the one that gets the most energy from being thanked for food, and so there's going to be a farmer clan that's like top tier farmer clan, a top tier warrior clan, a top tier art clan, a top tier administrator clan. So. Yes, that's Krellna is correct. The inner sphere is going to be the highest prestige clans of all sorts of various sorts. Yes, right. There's probably not two warrior clans in that inner circle. There's just the one with the most prestige. Exactly. Does the age of the clan matter? Like, are there a couple of ancient clans that have more respect as they will have had more time? Yes, that's right. So older clans tend to be the ones in the center. Younger clans tend to be sort of like a little bit further out of the spokes. Sometimes younger clans can do really amazing things and build themselves up. But right, and what's really interesting is that your ancestors are always watching you. That's another thing I was thinking about. So your ancestors are always watching you, which is both a positive and a negative. So there are things about, like, you shouldn't be doing things that dishonor your clan. Like, that's not a thing you should be doing because they're watching you. And so I thought about a system of like assassin clans, like how you can sort of get around certain things. But like trees, the ancient ones have had more time to grow and are also always the largest. Exactly, because they're like trees. Because they're tree people, right? So the older you are, the bigger your tree, the more rings you have, the more space you take up, right? The more sun you get, right? So it's harder to be a smaller clan, and so the smaller clans sort of move out farther out. So like there's
Have you ever heard the music?
So like there's a whole bunch in there, and I'm still working out right now how I want healing and food. Like there's certain kind of like biological things I want to work out, and how to work those out. How to work those out in relationship to an RPG. Because Hey, we are Nerdsmith. Right now we're talking about that fantasy game that I was telling you about, that fantasy system setting that I was talking about earlier. Okay, I'm supposed to be playing Horizon Zero Dawn, but they asked me. And there are a lot of things that sort of fit within a lot of normal RPGs about how the world works, that I actually, because the game is meant to be anti-colonialist, anti-capitalist, pro-environmental, because it has all these different things going on, actually I want things to work differently because the people are all trees and plants. I do want some things to work slightly differently. So what I'm thinking is that I'm thinking that as long as the players are in healthy land, I'm going to give them a kind of a slow regeneration. So if they get injured, as long as they're in healthy land, they will slowly regenerate. We have a call for stream in 6 minutes. Oh, thank you for hanging with us. You're hanging out when we're talking RPG, so this is a good time to hang. So I'm thinking about certain kinds of, is there a barber clan? Probably, what do you call them, tree surgeons? So I'm thinking that if they're in big hugs. We are Nerdsmith. Big hugs for you. Yeah. Makes me feel good. So I'm thinking about some of the things that often don't... Like, so think about fear of death, being injured, resource management, all these things that happen in a lot of games. I kind of want to turn that on its head a little bit, in the sense that I think that there would be healing, right? There would be healing that you can do, but I also think that just naturally you heal. As long as you are sort of connected to the earth and the sky, you will have low-level healing. Sort of like slow regeneration would happen. And yes, you can actually do sort of like fixing up, but there would be low-level regeneration. And I'm also thinking about, I'm trying to think about food, whether or not people need to eat. Whether or not our people need to eat at all. And if they do, maybe they need to drink water. So I'm pondering what kind of nourishment, like maybe they don't need to eat, or they need to eat very minimally as long as they are on their land. So I'm still thinking about it. Like I'm still pondering how I want some of that to work. But I've got this whole setup of like year dates, like when you hit certain years, because who is going to be the chosen one to follow on the clan is not going to necessarily be the firstborn. It could be the secondborn or the thirdborn. Like there are moments where they decide, oh, you're the one who seems to be the person who'll be the best to sort of like be our next clan follow-up in this location. Yeah, plants do have sugar in their system. This is true. If you have concrete proof of an afterlife and survival through the ancestors, would that change your perception of risk? Right? But then of course, but then you're not here anymore, right? Like once you go on to the ancestors, you no longer, you don't get to sort of live a physical life, and that's the thing that probably people want to keep. Like, they could have love and all of this. Like a plant, they don't need to eat if they're inactive, but when they're active and driving, they need more energy than the land and the sun. Yes, right? So they can probably go into kind of like hibernation states where they don't necessarily need food, but like when they're active, they will need some kind of sustenance. The person who sees the one who learns to walk at the youngest age, clearly they're an achiever. And actually, it's like there are like multiple phases of when they sort of assess you. They're like these kind of tests. So what I imagine is a series of tests to sort of decide. And I'm also thinking, this is sort of interesting because depending on how, I'm thinking also about how I want to start the game. And I'm imagining a series of tests that happen where you do like an initial set of tests where they see what you're good at, and then from there you can get fostered into a clan, and maybe you want to get into your own clan, but maybe you get put into somebody else's clan, and then you sort of work and you train, and then you have that second set of tests, and from there they decide who will be the ones who will be the next to follow through, and who will then go on their journeyman phase. So there'll be like different sets of tests that can happen, and I was thinking it might be really fun to start the game with sort of the testing phase where the kids go through the test and figure out what clan they're gonna be part of, and then sort of get sent off. Are they in part sustained by their ancestor energy? So would going on the offensive to drain enemy lands as they can't get energy easily. Are they in part sustained? Sort of like a Sorting Hat, but there's also politics in it. Do you know what I mean? So it's sort of like a Sorting Hat, but of course there's always politics. In part sustained by their ancestor energy. So would going on the offensive to drain enemy lands so they can't get energy as easily. Well, what I would, my imagination is if they're not on their ancestral lands,
With their ridiculous
no politics in the
ideas
Sorting
about
Hat. Surely,
Warriors have
going
been
on the offensive is risky, mainly because then they're no longer connected to their ancestral lands, right? And ancestral lands gives them healing, gives them access to ancestral powers, it gives them sustenance, right? So being at one with your environment is really important. Now, I imagine this is a kind of large continent with places with people who are not like, these are all kind of plant tree people, but I imagine they're also like fungus people, different sorts of people. So going like, why? Like, I'm imagining also a group of people for whom they don't necessarily need to go on the offensive. They don't know about the colonizers. When the game starts, they don't know about the colonizers because they've never met them before. The colonizers have not come to their land yet. The game will start with the colonizers arriving. But they're living in a space where actually they don't need a lot of stuff. Like, they've got a lot of things. Military clan is a cactus, right? So that's like, right? You can like really think about how you can sort of frame yourself in these kind of interesting ways. And I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited about the ways in which, and like, they're going to look like people, right? But they will be sort of in their core plants of some sort. So like, imagine all the people having the skin tone of plants or trees, so you could look like a redwood or mahogany or like a cactus, right? And then I imagine all of their hair being the color of leaves or flowers, right? So you could be a person who is sort of like a nice green with yellow, like sort of like daffodil hair. Teacher clan is an apple tree, right? So like you can sort of like, I'm imagining these people as people, so we're going to anthropomorphize them definitely, so that people can attach to them. But I do want them to be sort of anthropomorphized, but just a little bit different, wherein the way they function is just a little bit different than human beings, so we can sort of get into a slightly different mindset and really thinking about danger being in terms of imbalance. But also, here's the thing about the colonizers. Colonizers
Help me out, Nora, would you?
can do big, flashy things. Like, colonizers have the equivalent of guns, right? Like, they can wreak a lot of havoc real fast. And here's the thing. Are you ready for this? Ooh, I'm so excited. It's a secret. I'm so excited. It's not a secret, I'm telling you. But colonizers can turn the people in, like, the colonizers are basically like vampires, and they can turn you if you want to be like them, right? If you want their powers. Like, they've got a lot of powers. The colonizers have a lot of powers, and they've got powers that are fast and big, and they can turn you into them. They can recruit you. And if you're recruited, you get cut off from your ancestors. Because basically you die, and it's like becoming a vampire. You die, and your spirit doesn't join your ancestors, and that link between you and your ancestors is broken. You are now undead, but you now have access to all of their powers, which might be seductive, right? This sort of rot. And, I don't know, maybe some of the players will be tempted and will want to sort of become one of these colonizers. I think I call them the Bone Men, I think I call them. I can't remember what I call I have it all written down somewhere. Because then they might think maybe it's a sacrifice that's worth it. If I make this sacrifice and I cut myself off from the ancestors, then I can help defeat the colonizers. Is that a choice you're going to make? Do you want to... do you make that choice? But also, here's the other thing. If the colonizers kill you, you get cut off. Like, them killing you is not a good thing. You do not want to be killed by the colonizers. That's bad. If you die in a normal, natural way, then you get, you're part of the cycle of life and it's cool. But what they do is they disrupt the natural cycle. And if you get killed by them, you are cut off from you are cut off from the natural cycle. So it's like, oh,
Aloy.
so good. Like, I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited about this setting that I'm developing. And I'm sure everyone would say, oh, make your own system. Then you could just like do your own system. Yeah. But like, I'm conceiving of it in terms of GURPS's magic system. Systems. They have multiple systems. Sorry, cat got my laptop. And so I think, right, I think that we can sort of ponder. Anyway, I think there's a lot in this setting. I'm really excited about it. And I'm really excited about the chat, if there's going to be a donation set up, the chat being able to sort of be these ancestors that are able to sort of help generate sort of energy. And like, what can you do with ancestral favors? What can you do with favors from the ancestors? So this is interesting. I think that you can ask basically they're like miracles in certain ways. You can ask the ancestors for things. And how big of, and now here's the thing I was thinking about in terms of, because Javai asked about, can it be, yeah, the PC got all that big flash magic, but no chat support. And if your ancestor's low-key. Right, these are these questions. And this becomes this really, so Javai said, can it be taken out? And my thought is that players, if it convince me it will help lead to grandchildren, I'm in. There's so much I want to tell you about these bone people, because they're undead. But so here's the thing about whether or not you can sort of take out. And I'm still wanting to work out ratios, but I'm thinking that you can. The way I'm imagining it in my mind is about experience points. Like when you get experience points, I think that there will be a system for you. I'm imagining now a dual experience point system for this game. One for the experience that you get in the game, like normally, but also if you are doing things that help your ancestors, that give your ancestors energy, there will be experience points that are given to the ancestors. So if nobody donates in chat, that's fine, because the players can still give energy to their ancestors through their deeds in the game. But donating will also just help strengthen ancestors as well, right? So there's a way in which the players can also feed into this pool of energy, ancestral energy, through their deeds, because that's what they're doing. Also, right, so there's a way in which and I'm still trying to working out some of the stuff in terms of like the economics, the economy of it. But other people can also give into the ancestors, so if I'm from let's say the Willow clan, and in the course of the adventure I do things to honor the Rose clan, then that Rose clan will get energy through the end. So I'm just like working on like some of the actual mechanics of how to do this, because these are going to be sort of mechanics I'm making up. So I'll be making up a lot of my own mechanics to figure out how to do some of this work. But so here's the exciting thing. You'll build up sort of energy for these ancestral clans, and what you do is you ask the ancestors for a thing, like in game, because it's an in-game thing. This is all diegetic, right? This is all in game, and that was really important to me. I wanted this mechanic to not be external, but sort of internal to the game. So in the game, the character can ask their ancestor for a favor, for help, and whether or not the ancestors can help them is going to depend on how much energy the ancestors have. So if you ask for small things, like let's say you have like a small amount of energy, you can ask for small things, and then the ancestors can probably do that. And if you keep asking for a series of small things, you'll never build up large amounts of energy. But let's say you build up that energy over time and you really let it accumulate. Maybe if you accumulate a lot, you might be able to get the ancestors to revivify someone, because there's going to be no resurrection. The only way you can get resurrection, revivification, is if that's like a really major ask from your ancestors, right? To sort of have them bring that person back is massive. So if you've been doing enough for your ancestors, and if chat is involved and you get enough energy, then maybe you can make a really big ask, like, could you bring someone back? But that would be That would be
Help me out,
massive. Like that would be a big ask. But maybe you want lightning to strike to start a fire in that moment, or maybe you want the river to part, or maybe you want excessive growth, or a good sign for the outlet that they don't want to come back. Yes, right. So like, there's a lot I think that could happen that you could ask your ancestors, and really what you would ask your ancestors for would be up to the players to ask, and it's just gonna be about like how much stuff there is. And so I've got like their own magic system, the ancestral sort of miracle system or boon system. I'll have like the system of the bone men, their kind of magic, and then I'll have a whole sort of setup for sort of prestige and honor and communing with ancestors. So it's like a whole system I got going on, which I'm really excited about. But that game, I'm not going to run right now. I'm going to run it after the French Resistance is what I'm going to do. Is probably what's going to happen. The one thing, and I'll tell you, here's the one thing that I'm thinking about that is like a little bit tricky, is that I love this setting. I'm really in love with it. Like I'm still thinking about how assassins work. I'm thinking about places you can go to do things that would dishonor your ancestors, but you are shielded so they can't see you doing them, right? Like, I'm thinking about all sorts of different, I've been thinking about all this stuff for this setting, and I love it, and I would love to publish it. It's a setting that I would like to publish. I think it would be really great, but here's the problem. GURPS is not super big on third-party stuff. For the longest time, they just didn't do any third-party stuff. They have now this one guy, Gaming Ballistic, has done some third-party stuff. Actually, it's brand new, and he's doing he's doing the Dungeon Fantasy stuff. Right? Hall of Judgment. Like, so this is a third party by Gaming Ballistic, and it is. Oh, pardon me. And now that it's done, we know it's possible. Yeah, especially in today's culture and climate, pun intended, right? 'Cause it's also about climate change, right? And so I would love to do it, but I really do conceive of this as being a GURPS game, and they just don't do a lot of third-party stuff, and I don't know if they would let me. They're very picky about who they work with. They are very, very concerned about their brand in terms of making sure that everything is the highest quality, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And even though I have worked for them in the past, I've published 2 articles in their magazine, I've been a lead playtester for them, I haven't done much with them in the present, and I don't know if they would go for it. Krellin's like, GURPS is really bad at marketing, and that is true. What I might do, though, what I'm thinking is that, here's my thought, work with me, that if I run the game, if I stream a campaign in the game setting, that might be, and it does well, and the stream does well, and the stream gets eyes, and it's got good name to it, that might be enough to convince them to let me do a third party with them. Look with their special eyes. So that is a thing that I want to do. How did y'all get me talking about my secret plans, everyone? But what I would really like to do is run this fantasy setting where everybody's plants. And then basing on GURPS may also affect mainstream interest. The thing is, I know a lot of people don't like GURPS, but I kind of don't care. Do you know what I mean? Like, if what I wanted was popularity, then I would just make it Powered by the Apocalypse, because that's what everybody's doing nowadays. I'd be like, Powered by the Apocalypse, I would just do that. Secret plans. It's true. Distract me. It's fine. This is a thing This is a setting that I've been really thinking about a lot, and it's been sort of a constant back burner that I really care about. Look, if what I wanted was popularity, like if what I wanted was like, oh, I want popularity, well, then I would just go Powered by the Apocalypse, because that's what everybody's doing. That's not what I'm like. But Powered by the Apocalypse would not give me what I want. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not the system that would give me what I want. I suppose I could do Fate. But that is not going to give me what I want either. Because Fate allows for more third-party stuff. They're a bit more of a OSR. but
Business
the Boneman rot. Yeah, the Boneman rot, exactly. It's not a healthy rot. It's a radioactive rot. I'm always a fan of rolling your own. But here's the thing. Everyone's into like rolling your own everything, but then you've got to create an entire system. And not everybody, like, not all systems, like,
Help me out.
are great. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes people make their own system just to make their own system, and then it's not very interesting. It's not particularly, like, awesome. Javai says, Crit Twitch does not care about this system. It's like 3 times all the work, Alyssa, yes. Javai says, I tried to look into GURPS a while back, and while I imagine the rules probably are good, the booklet was kind of draining to read for me, so I never got into it properly. Krellin points out that all RPG books have shitty layout. Yeah. It's funny, because Krellin is now reminding me of some tweets about the Wendy's game, wherein somebody, I think it was Swordfall, was pointing out that the Wendy's game, which is terrible, has a really good layout, right? And that a lot of RPG books don't have good layout, and that's like always a bit of a problem. And so this like Wendy's game is going to look good because it's got really good layout. I'm not right, but also Krellin had a really great thread about the Wendy's game, which I thought was really good. Yeah, so in my mind, I don't want to do Powered by the Apocalypse, even though I would totally, like, that's what you would do if you want to be popular at this moment, because that's, like, where all the energy's going at this space. You could do Fate, because it got rabid fans.
Help me out, Nora, would you?
But, again, the way I'm conceiving of the magic systems, I would want to use GURPS. I would want to use GURPS. So, yeah, right? And so that's life at the moment. But here's what's going to happen. I'm going to run French Resistance. I'm going to run a French Resistance campaign, either on my channel or on some other channels that are possible. And then after I finish that French Resistance campaign, then I'm going to do my fantasy campaign, and or simultaneously, depending. Like, here's the thing: if I get a fellowship, let's be upfront. If I get a fellowship where I don't have to teach for a year, and I'm just writing for a year, if I get a fellowship, that means I will have more time in my day, which means I could theoretically do 2 shows like I did in the summer. And if that's happening, then I could theoretically do the fantasy campaign and the French Resistance campaign at the same time, because they're different systems, and that would be fine. So, it's possible. And then, so for me, it's just gonna be about where do I want to put the show? Where do I think would fit best? Where do I think? I imagine all these fellowships come with a ring. They don't. Yeah. Trooper, I just realized that if they are bonemen and they are white, while the PCs are brightly colored like plants,
Help me out, Nora,
I did do that on purpose, Krellin. I did. Krellin, I did do it on purpose. I did. Krellin, you've met me before. I did do it on purpose. And I imagine them, they're bleached white, like bones left out in the sun, right? So they've got that kind of bleached white, kind of vaguely, like with a slightly gray tinge to them. That is what they look like. And they have no hair, right? So they're hairless, and they've got this sort of unhealthy bleached, like, you know, like bones in the sun in the desert. That's the kind of look they have, and they're sort of gaunt. They're like, yes, Krellin, they're hairless, right? So they're hairless. They're a little bit Nosferatu, like from the film sort of Nosferatu in my mind. Right, so they've kind of, and they're a little bit like elongated. And they're going to be a little bit scary, right? A little bit elongated.
How many great warriors have
But
been
also the
ignored?
process of and the plant people, they've got good hair. The plant people have got great hair. So like they're hairless, they're gaunt, they're a little bit elongated.
Help me out, Nora.
No, I did play some. Yeah. So, and then I'm imagining the thing is that they have, they have this rot that if they damage you, that's not great. And also they suck your energy, right? So no scandals. Their hair, they turn red in the sun. So like I'm imagining this kind of and I'm imagining them also being actually quite technological. I remember when we started playing the game, I totally did. And I imagine them having some slightly better technology, right, in terms of, because I imagine them, the way I imagine it, so I'm imagining there's also sort of really great sort of magic that our tree people use to sort of bend the earth and the trees into habitats. Do they also speak with a foppish accent? No, I imagine that as being like, yeah. But I imagine they worship, they don't worship ancestors, they worship a god. They have a god they worship, a god that is like a god of the forge. So they worship a god of the forge that they imagine as being, that will build to take over. They probably got really good medical and prosthetics technology. Yes, that's right. So they've got really good medical technology because they worship a god of the forge. They've got sort of better weaponry. And so I'm gonna sort of want to think about them like the kind of weapons they have, but their weapons, Alyssa, the Forge and also commerce, those things are not disconnected, right? So those things are, those things are connected, right? So they've got really good prosthetics, they've got good medical technology, they've got really good metallurgy, because they like to take the earth and sort of build it in their own. So they've got this whole setup, but the problem is that they've leached all of their own earth anymore. So they're like, oh, we need new resources. Yeah. That's right. Yes, Krillin, exactly. Their weapons are like +2 or +3 because they're iron and steel instead of wood, bone, and stone. Exactly. So I'm imagining the people of the place that we're at. What, a war-based economy? That would never happen. Never. Right. And so like the people that we're in, they've got like wood. They've got wood and sort of like fabric and leather for like, you know what I mean, and stone, obsidian, and like they've got sort of weapons that are sort of like sort of shaped of natural, but still within a realm of natural. But then these bonemen who come in with their rot, they've got like steel and they've got iron, and they've got worked things that are warped, right? They're no longer looking like natural things, and so they come in. So they've got stronger things, more powerful things. They've got all this impressiveness, but they also are fundamentally on the inside hollow and dead, right? They've got all of the products, they've got all of the things, but they don't. But they're dead. But they're dead. I was discussing this technology with my brother the other day and positing that the pointy stick was the greatest technological leap humans ever made. Yes, I think that's probably true, actually. Right, so like I'm imagining like, and I'm imagining like issues, like a lot of questions of like themes of sacrifice, themes of what will you do, like what kind of sacrifices will you make, things about aligning yourself with or going against. Like there are a lot of like interesting themes I think you could do with this setting, and I'm really excited about it. It's one that I really love, and I am excited about getting some time to work on it, which I clearly don't have right now. And it's like number 2 on my list. Like in terms of long campaigns, like number 1 on my list for long campaign is French Resistance. Number 2 on my list for long campaign is this fantasy campaign. And I've got some like little mini things, like, you know, 2, 3, 4-parters I want to do. Like I want to do a Clockwork Dominion 4-part adventure on a stream at some point, and I've got some like I've got a couple of things I want to run as little short things, but that's one of the things I really want to do.
Even if I cared to travel
long term, right? That's like a
further than the Grave Horde.
Long-term goal is that one, and I'm really excited to think about. And also, they have slaves, right? The colonizers have slaves. Who are basically the people they feed off of, right? Because these undead, the bone men, they don't do all the labor themselves, right? So they get slaves that they then also feed off of.
You're looking strong.
Whenever people talk about their really good ideas, it makes me wonder how they come up with them, and some feelings of self-criticism. Slavery is bad, right? It's also historical, but also the reason I also think of this. These colonizers sound pretty cool, but no, I'm out. The thing about them is that they also need their enslaved people because they don't heal naturally, right? They don't heal naturally, so they heal by taking the sustenance of other people, like vampires. Let's Do Lunch might have a totally different meaning with the bone people, and that is true, right? So they need their enslaved people that they feed off of so they can heal and sort of sustain. So like they feed off of people, they feed off of the land, but it's not sustainable. And we're at this moment where they like realize that, so they have to go to a new land to get new people and new lands. And they also want to evangelize their hearth god, their god of steel, their god of steel and commerce. That's what they want. That right? They want to evangelize. They want to spread their great works. And I imagine their cities being impressive, right? Like massive, huge cities with buildings made of steel, right? All these metal buildings and like the kind of like really impressive towers. Maybe they should maintain larger slave to bone ratios so they can feed without killing or feed slower than the rate of repopulation. Yeah, maybe they should, but some people, sometimes you could tell them, hey, there's you're not ecologically sustainable, bonemen. And then they're like, whatever, fake news, and they don't pay attention to you. And they just keep going, I think about how in Roanoke, right, they just built tobacco rather than food, and then they all died, right? So I'm thinking about greed and the way that greed can lead to your undoing. Oh, Boneman politics would be so interesting, right? So yeah, I'm really excited about, and also like one of the themes I'm thinking about is about away and home and away, about staying home versus going away. And silly people, you can't eat tobacco. So yeah, this is the setting that I've been working on for a while now, and I'm. Is there a sustainability faction? I imagine there is. I imagine there is a sustainability faction, but I imagine the problem with the sustainability faction is they don't get as much power, right? Because you get more power like by consuming. And yeah. So there's a thing which is really interesting in the GURPS basic magic system, which is the one that I think the Boneman would have. You have mana. Yeah, but and the players would not encounter them. The players would not encounter them because they're at home. The sustainability people are not sort of going out. So exactly. But they would be there, but they wouldn't be... but that might also sort of lead to sort of politics later. Are there some clans that are closer aligned to the ideology of the colonizers that might fight on their side? I would like... This is a question I would like to know. And this is one of the things that I would... that I want all the players... One of the setups of the campaigns that players are going to be from the small clans on the outside. Because by being on the outside, that means they adventure into the woods and into the forest, they go out, which means they're going to be the ones who are going to encounter the colonizers first. But they also are disadvantaged compared to the great chieftains. The great clans have way more power, and they have way more energy, and they're older, right? They're the great redwoods, they're the bigger ones. And it's really hard for smaller clans to get into the center. It's really hard. So, right, so there's this, so maybe there'll be a temptation to align with the Bonemen. Did the Bone people have ancestors that could be co-opted to help others, or have they effectively lost their own power? They have completely cut themselves off from their ancestors, but that doesn't mean the ancestors aren't there anymore. Although the ancestors are probably very weak now because the land has been basically destroyed. There's probably expansion clans, like there might be that might be the entire Outer Ring. If you think about a forest, the old growth are deep inside the forest, huge and dominating, and the outskirts are built up slowly by expansion by younger plants. It's exactly right. Like the younger plants are on the Outer Ring, and they are sort of expansionist in that way. Can bone people straight up kill their ancestor spirits? I would say yes, by leeching them. So here's a thing that's really interesting about the various GURPS magic systems that I want to tell you about, which is part of, like, I was just like thinking about this a lot. So in the basic magic system, which is the one that's closer to a D&D magic system, but it's still not the same, spells are skills, right? So, and actually almost all of them, almost all the magic system spells are skills, but like you can learn Fireball, and the Fireball spell costs a certain amount of energy to cast. Yeah, this is Shivai, exactly. They ate their ancestor spirits. They consumed them. So in the basic GURPS magic system, you have hit points and you also have energy fatigue points. And the fatigue points you spend when you like run, hike, etc. But in the basic magic system, you use your fatigue to power your magic. So, Jer, what are you asking for Jer for? So you eat your so you burn your fatigue to power your magic. And your average person has like, 10, 11, 12 fatigue points. So, of course I can. Actually, I can just do this. Hold on. I miss Jer too. Jer was here. So you use your fatigue to power your spells, right? So you can make, and you can often, unlike D&D, you can often make your spells more powerful just by putting more energy into it. Our ancestors are dead. We consumed them. That's a horrifying scene where the players watch the bowmen go through the battlefield draining spirits. Yes, exactly. I'm imagining there's being some really scary moments with the bowmen. Well, no, we're actually going to be ending soon, Ice Bunny, because it's almost 3. So we'll be heading out soon. But so you spend your fatigue to power your spells, and the more fatigue you have, the bigger of the spells you can make. But you can also do them immediately. Like you're like, I've got this whole reserve of energy that I have, and I can spend that energy to cast spells. And because it's fatigue, your spells, your fatigue regenerates. Like you rest and you get your fatigue back. But I imagine that the bonemen do not get their fatigue back naturally because they are no longer natural. So they get fatigue, and also regular people are limited by their fatigue pool. Exactly, right? So the bonemen do not heal their fatigue normally. They steal their fatigue from living things. So they will steal fatigue from people. They will take it from you. They will sacrifice animals. They'll sacrifice people to gain fatigue. But they don't have an upper limit on how much fatigue they can store. They just don't heal it. So they can go into battle and they can like steal your fatigue from you to give themselves energy to cast big, huge fireballs, right? And they can like gather up huge amounts by consuming their ancestors, right? They can, or consuming your ancestors. They just gather up all of this energy that they keep in this store bank, and then they just go boom, boom, and they can just like devastate things, right? Because they've got all this energy. They never heal it though. They steal it, right? They steal their energy. Now, and that gives you like fast, impressive, flashy magic that can be impressively powerful and do impressive things. But the PCs, the plant people, oh, right, and of course the bowmen, they can just murder you for your energy. They can steal your energy and use it, right? They leech. But the plant people, they don't do that. Hey, control freak. They don't, that's not how they use energy. I want to use the energy gathering system, which was basically an adaptation of the Castle Falkenstein system that they did for GURPS Castle Falkenstein, where they gather energy not from their, and this is also, sorry, this is really cool. I have to tell you, it thematically also works. The plant people, the PCs, they gather energy from the environment around them. And so but it takes time. It takes like 5 minutes to gather energy. Like it'll take them a minute. Like they can't just zoom energy right there. If they want to cast a fireball or whatever, they're probably not casting fireballs just for the first point. But if they want to cast things, it takes them like 10, 15 minutes to do it. But because they're drawing it slowly, it doesn't drain the land. They just do it slowly, and they can do really they have no limit to how much energy they can draw, but it just takes them a really long time because they don't do it fast. So if they do a ritual for like 2 hours, they can have a huge, huge effect, but that's like 2 hours, and that's not gonna be helpful in combat. Do you know what I mean? So there's gonna be a lot of them, like if you're a PC, you've got access to stuff, but because you're doing it sustainably, you have to sort of, but you could work together as a team, right? The PCs could work together as a team, and they could all draw together. So you can get faster, but by doing it together as a team. Is there a law of conservation of magic, or does it cease to exist? So the world's yes, they become they become gradually depleted and barren. So you can either do it in the sustainable way that the PCs would be doing it initially, or you can do it in the non-sustainable way that will deplete the land and make it barren. So the land where the bonemen come from has been depleted and is terrible. Yes. And so here's the interesting thing. The players can work together, they can team up, and they can all draw energy together, so they can make things go a little bit faster if they work together as a group, to gather this energy in a sustainable way, to let them do magic. But that is like, you know, that's slow, which is not great in a battle with 1 second combat terms. Ancestors, when you ask for ancestors, that's an immediate thing, and ancestors gives you a miracle that's immediate, but that's like long-term building up. So that's really exciting. But so think about this, right? Collectivism versus individualism. The thing about the Bonemen is their ideology is that they get to do it all themselves, right? They do it on their own. It is their own power that they're using. They don't need anybody else. They don't need ancestors. They don't need the environment. It's their own individual power that allows them to do this, because they're just using their own internal stores of energy to do this. So they're just like, it's all me. I'm like a lone, rugged individual. Power. Now, of course, they've stolen the power from everyone, right? Whereas the PCs are working on sort of collective empowerment. Yeah, no, I'm doing it all. I'm doing it all, Chrome. But because I was like really thinking, like, how can I do this in a way that really fits within a setting? And I'm like getting all these pieces, and I'm so excited about it. But of course, here's the thing. As I think you are saying through, this is true until there's no one else. Yes, once there's no one else to parasite on, then it's a bit of a problem. So what happens when the PCs enact the Great Ghost Dance and make all the volcanoes erupt? How many societal trends is that you are? Well, I don't know. I suppose they seem all related to me in some ways, right? And so I'm just kind of trying to imagine a kind of a utopian society that's not really all that utopian, because there's still hierarchy, and thinking about the challenge to that society and how, and what will you, and the question becomes, I think, what will you do? What will you sacrifice to preserve your homeland? Right? That's the question. And when you have people who can cast a fireball in 2 seconds and it takes you 5 minutes to do something, because they're parasites, right? They're parasites and leeches. But you could parasite and leech a little, right? Like you could maybe just get a little bit of that to maybe fight them. Maybe you could use their weapons a little bit to fight them. Do you want to use the Master's tool to take down the Master's house? And that's the question, right? Slippery slopes, my friend, the slippery slopes. And I'm really excited to put a group of really good RPers, means versus ends, in this situation to see what they'll do. Because I imagine, you know who does have resurrection magic? The Bonemen. What is the cost of that resurrection magic is another question. Like, they can bring people back from the dead. Where they got that energy usually involves killing a lot of people, but they can do it. And, you know, maybe you need that. Maybe they can make a deal with you. Maybe you don't like your chieftain. You know, I mean, maybe they, like, I imagine some seductive deals being made, or seductive offers being made. And will they follow through on those offers? I don't know. We will see. We will see. Every single bowman has died at least once. They don't even view death as a problem. It's just another path to power. Yes, right? Because they have no, like, they want, and I imagine they're actually being I imagine there being a good number of bonemen. Like, it's not like there are millions of bonemen, because they keep their numbers kind of small because they have larger sort of troops that they're working on. So they'll have shock troops who are there, enslaved people. And then how do our PCs feel about fighting enslaved people? But the enslaved people are kind of zombies a little bit. Homeland's called the Bone Zone. Would resurrecting an ancestor spirit cut off? It would. If you resurrect that ancestor spirit, that ancestor's energy comes back and is taken, and it weakens the entire collective, right? So all the PCs are really about the collective, right? Sort of feeding in towards the collective, and then the collective feeds you back, and sort of finding a collective that works for you, and sort of trying to do this. But again, it's going to be important that the PCs are actually not one of these central clans in the center. They're not the old growth forest. They're the new plants, or the saplings that don't have as much power. And if I ever ask you where Tommy's pulling energy for one of his rituals, answer carefully. I would need to know more about the cosmology of Call of Cthulhu that way, because at the moment you're spending your magic points, and I don't know if those, and it seems as if the magic points are internal. It seems that way, right? Because if you run out of magic points, then I think your character, bad things happens to your character. But if you ever ask me if I can gather in, hey, Rissa, it's not Tommy you need to ask this question of. You need to ask Joseph. You need to give Joseph the opportunity to cast lots of spells without spending the magic points himself, because you know he would. If you want like some super bad choices, ask Joseph, because he would do it. He would do it. Trooper, are you familiar with Gears of War? Because the bowmen remind me of the Locust. I played Gears of War 1, although I didn't finish. It's one of the very few games I haven't finished. I finish almost all the games that I play, but with Gears of War, I got myself in that situation where I leveled up my snipers. Like, I leveled up weapons that did not help me in the last quarter of the game. And I feel like that's a bit of a problem for myself, because I basically got into a point where the weapons that I had were not the weapons that I needed to get through this one particular level, and I just was stuck there. Maybe I'll go back to it and try to finish it. But so basically, I don't know Gears of War. Oh, really? Yeah, I basically got to I don't know if I got to the very end of Gears 1, but I got very close to the end of Gears 1, but I never got to finish it because I got myself in a bad situation. All the games that I have not finished, of which there have been Ninja Gaiden, Gears of War 1, there was this sort of tactical RPG, I think it was 100 Years War. All the games that I have not finished have been games wherein you get to level up your skills, and they did not tell me that I really needed this other skill rather than this one, right? And then I get stuck in a point where you can't really go, like, you're too high, you're too advanced to level up your basic skills now, because you'll just die if you try to level up those other ones. But yeah. Oh, yeah, you should probably go to bed soon, right? But the thing about Gears is I didn't really get the lore. I just thought they were kind of like your generic aliens that come in and like destroy people. I didn't realize they had a really deep lore in Gears 1, since I never... Yeah, I didn't really get to know the lore very well. I probably should. Yeah. But No, the next gen reboot, Krellin. With the next gen reboot, I got to the final boss. I got to the final boss for Ninja Gaiden, the reboot. And I was using the nunchuck because I really like the nunchaku. I thought they were really cool. But it turns out I should have been using the sword. And I got myself really good at the nunchaku. And then when I got to the final boss, I was not cutting it. And I just couldn't finish it. And I was like, dang it. And I tried for like over and over again for a couple of weeks, and I didn't do it. Oh, thanks, Chrome. I hadn't thought about that. I was thinking, I feel like the Locusts are a little bit too beefy. I was kind of looking for something a bit more emaciated. Do you know what I mean? Like, kind of like an emaciated feeling. Y'all, we clearly only played like 4 minutes of a game. 4 minutes of a game. I mean, how much of the lore was present in 1? How much was retconned in the later games? I don't know. I feel like maybe I should play other Gears of War. Carlin says, yeah, they're beefy, but everything in that game is beefy. Everything in that game is beefy, like, whoa. Like, for real beefy. Ice Bunny says, oh no, I'm an owl. I just wanted to remind you of it in real life, just in case you have to do something. I enjoy listening. All later games, there's like no lore in 1. I really wish I could know more about it. Yes, I feel good with today's progress. So what I want you to know, between you and I, all of us, is that I have got this game in my mind, this fantasy setting, that is like an anti-colonial, environmental, anti-consumerist, sort of anti-individualistic kind of collectivist game that will also explore the difficulties of being in a collective. Because like sometimes if you're in a, because like what if you don't want to do what your clan wants you to do? What if like I want to explore some difficult, like it's not like it's going to be all like, oh, kumbaya, they're so great here. There'll also be troubles there, but really sort of thinking about the seductiveness of hard choices. Gears 4, thick and rolly boys. I have played Spirit Island. I just started playing it this year. One of my last year was when I first played it. One of the big people in Game Night has it, brought it in. We played it. Super fun. I like it, but I've been working on this setting for a couple of years, and I'm really excited. So the Spirit Island was like, oh, that's really good. Yeah. So right, I'm pondering, everybody. But I want to do it, and I think the only way and I would love to publish it, but I think the only way I can publish it, because I want to do it through GURPS, is if I can run a stream that is really successful enough to make Steve Jackson Games thinks that maybe it is worth their while. Arya tweeted about it. My brother bought it for me because it sounded cool, like right when it first came out. So good, right? It is so good. It's so good. I really enjoy that game. It's a fun cooperative game. I like it a lot. I am a fan of it. A couple of years makes me feel less bad about not having epic ideas of my own. Oh no, I've been working on this idea for a couple of years now. Like I've been working on it for like maybe 3 years, maybe 3 years. I like causing fear. I love like generating lots and lots of fear in with our amongst the colonizers. I love that. Yeah, but I'm gonna work on it. I just shaved my head today, so I'm like playing with my head. I will get there, but I've got to do the French Resistance first, right? First off, French Resistance, and then after I finish the French Resistance, I will really sort of turn my attention to this fantasy setting. And I do like the Shadow Spirit. I like the Shadow Spirit. And then once I get that done, I'm hoping that I can, get the setting, getting this. I hope that I can get a stream that will be well thought of enough that I can get Steve Jackson Games to allow me to make a third party supplement. Because I know because that's the only way it'll have to go. All right, folks, it is 3:15. We played lots and lots of Horizon Zero Dawn. But I should eat some food, is what I should do. Why do you have to live on the other side of the continent? Krellin, I would totally play games with you. I would play some Path. I would play games with you. But, I may not be on this side of the continent forever. That's all I'm saying. I may not be on this side of the continent forever. That's all. So much. By the way, Rissa, I'm just saying you should also offer Joseph all sorts of magical powers without having paid magic points for it, because he would do it. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying, Rissa, offer Joseph, because I know he would take it. I don't know if Tommy would take it. It would depend on the situation. Tommy's a harder get. Tommy's, I think, would be a bit more resistant because he really is a bit more religious that way. And, he's got a lot of concern about sort of bad spirits. And, he doesn't even really want, he still thinks it's a bad idea for Abigail to be around long term. So he's a bit more reticent, but Joseph would totally get thee back to Cali. Offer him free power. He would take it. My tech priest was offered an army to take over the planet, and they said no. See, Krellin, but your Rissa, your misspelling is exciting, because they want to take over the planet, but they never thought a military path was viable. Yeah, but Joseph is a character who I feel like it wouldn't even be. I don't even think he'd hesitate. Maybe he would. I don't know. But I'd like to see Joseph have that choice of like a really cool ritual that you take that you can cast, and maybe it costs 1 sanity and no magic powers. Like, I'm just saying, like, I'm imagining a spell that, like, is really cool. Like, oh, never mind, I can't type in this Kindle. Rissa, here's what I've got for you. Here's my idea. A spell that will attack spirits, right? Like, you know, we got this really horrible, military conquests get tricky when the enemy has orbital bombardment. That is true. That is true. Rissa, here's my idea. A spell that will attack spirits, and... you know, like, because we have these, right now in the game, we've got these spirits that are infesting our museum that are keep attacking us, like bad spirits, and they're really dangerous and horrible, and they're freaking us out. So I think that Joseph should find a spell that will, like, blast those spirits in some kind of really impressive way, because you know how he likes power, and it doesn't cost magic points, but it costs sanity instead. And you can say that, like, energy is coming from somewhere, and then you lose some sanity. But then you can do this, like, power, like because he keeps doing, he's playing with that knife. I'm just telling you, I think that you give Joseph this spell that costs sanity, and where the energy comes from somewhere, but you don't know where. It fights the spirits we've been up against. He would do it. He would do it. Yeah, I'm just telling you all, Rissa, do it for me, because POW is the source of SAN and MP, right? I'm just saying. And then there's the reveal that the energy comes from the souls of the dead from World War II. I think I've seen this anime. I'm just saying, there are possibilities. All right, so here's what's up. Next week, I've got a full streaming schedule. Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, I will be doing the Purloin Code over at Little Red Dots, and you should come and see me play Dev. And then Thursday at 6 p.m. regular time, I'll be doing more Night in the Woods, and we're gonna try to find, like, we had some pretty heavy emotional stuff happening the last Night in the Woods. We'll find out what happens next. Maybe we'll have a bad dream. And then Saturday, more Horizon Zero Dawn, and maybe even more Horizon Zero Dawn than, this last time. So if you want, you can join me on the Discord. If you want, you can give a follow. There's like a follow button probably up here somewhere. You can give a follow if you like. You can join the Discord. We've got a pretty mellow Discord. We're very nice. We're very friendly. You can find me on Twitter at Academic Foxhole, where I post whatever. And I've got a YouTube where I put the archive of these shows. And also I have a Patreon if you want to go and help fund RPGs, costumes and cast, and overlays and all that kind of stuff, and music and whatever. What else do I want to tell you all? There's a thing that I wanted to tell you. I forgot, but I remembered. What was it? It was important. I forgot. I had a thing. I don't know. I'm gonna play a song on Saturday on the banjo. It'll be good. I hope so. And I'm gonna eat, and I will see you all. Take care of yourselves. Do right by yourselves. Eat some food. Get some sleep. And I will catch you on the flip side. Thank you all for being here, you battle buddies. Thanks for being in the foxhole. Bye, everybody.